What a fucking day.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Jacob.
No problem, man.
Dude, I remembered you were coming, and then I
was going to question you about that.
And then I forgot, and then I was like, then he hit me up last night, and I said, well, if he is coming, he'll probably text me when he leaves the house. So we'll, because at the same time, I was like, well, if he doesn't come,
no big deal.
No big deal. We got so much shit to do. Yeah. I know you got shit to do as well, but at the same time, like, I wanted to do this podcast because I'll release this next Wednesday, and this will be like almost one of the only podcasts I'll release for the whole month.
Oh, while you're gone?
While I'm gone. And then this is all kind of leading up with your build for Born Free.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be a perfect situation to have you on for all that stuff.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. It was cool. Yeah. Like, I definitely, that's why I tried to give you the easy out earlier. Like, I was still driving, and I was like, well, shit, I didn't tell him I was on the way. We just talked about it, and I was like, I don't know, he's used to this shit. And so I was like, well, I definitely have enough to do. Like, I would just turn right back around and start working on my bike. So I didn't give a shit either. But no, it's cool. I'm glad it worked out.
I feel like this is like, I wanted to do this for two reasons. For one, there was all this shit leading up in your life that once the last podcast got released, you changed jobs. Then you went right into Born Free was in August last year, right?
Yeah. August.
So you were going into Born Free with that People's Champ build.
Yep.
And so let's pick up there. Like, how was it? Yeah. First off, now you can talk about the job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can talk about it. Yeah. Last time I didn't even tell my work I was quitting yet.
Yeah.
Like my old job. So yeah, I started working at West Coast Choppers, doing motorcycle fab on August 1st.
August 1st.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was and all that came about from just like kind of, I did Monster Garage for Jesse, like, and then just kind of like, it just went well. Like, I mean, the episode failed, but like it went well as far as like
the relationship you created. Yeah.
And then kind of thanks to like his head machinist Fro at West Coast, like, I guess he was kind of like feeding Jesse photos of the work I was doing on the bike. And he'd just be like, oh, like, we should just fucking hire you, like that type of thing. Yeah. And then every now and then I would just get like a message from Jesse, just like, bike's looking good, shit like that. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that's gotta be weird as fuck.
Yeah, dude, it was super odd. And then it just kind of like, it just went from there. Like, and then it was just one day, it was like, hey, you want to quit your job and come build bikes for me? And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. I was like, I just kind of shitty timing with the People's Champ thing. I was only way I was able to build that bike is because I was doing it out of my like day job shop after hours. And I had no tools, no nothing at home. So I was like, I have to finish this or I won't be able to. And I don't want to bring that like over into starting the job over there or anything. So just, he was like, all right, cool. So finished it all up, did the shit for Biltwell, and then switched jobs.
So how was that experience like doing the People's Champ? Because you were one of the finalists, correct?
Yeah, I made the finals this year.
How was that whole thing like going in, doing the Cook's? They do the thing at Cook's Corner, right? The whole, like, I guess
it's a big party.
It is.
I did not know what we
went there, right? Into. Didn't we go to Cook's that time?
I think y'all went.
Okay, we rode through.
That was when me and Drayden came late.
Yeah, it's such a cool bar just tucked up in the hills.
Yeah.
And then, it was awesome. Just like what Biltwell does, like to put it all together. Like we started out like 8 a.m., like meeting up at just a little, little gas station taco spot, like I think it was near Elsinore, like Lake Elsinore. I think it was right there, like through Santiago Canyon.
Yeah.
And that's where we did like a 50-mile ride. Like on the way there.
Is that one of the requirements, basically?
Yeah.
It has to ride?
Yeah. Yep. And you have to ride it. And, like, the canyons they take you through aren't, like... I mean, if you have a shitty chopper and you can't make it up a hill or something, like, underpowered, like, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Like, it was interesting, but it was fun.
Nice.
That was one of the coolest parts.
That's got to be cool to, like... I've been talking with, all the times we talk with builders on here, it's always one of the things that sometimes, like, you need a challenge to build a bike. You need, like, a purpose, right? Sometimes just building a bike because... I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes you need some kind of end goal, some purpose, some meaning behind it, if you will.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that brings out some of the best builds ever because people are competing with themselves in a way, but also competing with other people in a friendly manner. You know what I'm saying? So I think the People's Champ has brought a lot of, like, light to a lot of garage builders, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it was even dope or more badass is that, by being there, showing up, building that bike, and then now you get invited to be an actual, invited builder, which is that's a
Yeah, that shit blew my mind. Like, it was super weird because, so like you're saying, being pushed by having like a goal or like something to accomplish. Like, this is now the third bike I built, and all of them have been for either 2 for People's Champ and now this one for Invited Builder Born Free. So I've always had that goal. So it's always pushed me to get it done and try hard or, you know, shit like that. Like, I need like a certain amount of stress to make me get shit done.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I have my own timeline, like, I'll slack for sure. It'll get done, but, you know, sometimes you like stare at something for a little too long.
Yeah,
like, you need to like have something to make you force a decision.
So the stress aspect of it it like makes you, I wouldn't say the word is cut corners, but you cut the decision making time in half because you don't spend as much time like weighing all the shit. You're like, fuck it, this seems like a good one. I'm gonna make it the best I can.
I feel like it forces you to just go off like your gut on everything and not like second guess shit. Because when you start second guessing things, then you're swapping out fenders, tanks, moving shit around at like a quarter of an inch, and you're like, this is fucking stupid. Like, it's
but you're one of the guys that kind of sketches out your direction before you start banging metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That comes from like my older brother being like into architecture and shit like that. He went to school for architecture and taught me how to do a lot of drafting and stuff when I was young. So I've always drawn. So like, just like how you know, do layouts for colors and shit like that, sketches, like I do the same thing. I just take a photo of the bike on my iPad and then trace over it in layers and just same that, but it helps. And like the way if I don't know exactly what I want to do, I'll try to find bikes that have like a similar part or stance, and then I'll take a photo of that, overlay it, adjust the dimensions of things and stuff, like scale. And just to help like visualize it, because then once I figure that out, I feel like I can move through a project really fast.
Well, also, like, so do you do it from just like kind of like your side profile perspective? Do you ever do it from like a looking from the back of the bike situation?
Yeah,
to kind of get the width of everything.
Not so much the back, but I've done like top views. Like when I did that the twin cam with the twin top tube and twin tanks. I did a top view of it, like a scaled top view. Like once I had the side down, like, you know, you just transfer all the lines up, do that type of shit, and figure out the width. And it worked out so well.
For real?
Like, still, like, the drawings I did for that, like, I can hold them up next to the bike, and it's so close.
I feel like that, so that, I try to explain to people that helps me with paint, and that helps my bikes. In my opinion, like, that gives me kind of like, I was trying to explain this to some homies at bike night, but I confidently can say that if you walk around my entire bike, almost every angle, it looks like it was thought. Like, the graphics flow into some part of the bike. You know, you look at the fairing at a 3/4 view, it flows into the tank, and somehow it lines up with something on the bags. And it's about creating like a, in my opinion, just like when everything has a flow. And it's not just like, for me, it's paint, but with you, you're shaping the metal, or you're shaping the position of everything to give you that same sense of connectivity throughout the bike and cohesiveness, so it looks like it's balanced. You know?
Yeah, you don't want holes. Like, you don't want gaps. Like, you don't want to catch it from one spot and just be like, oh, like, it looks like I completely forgot to do this. You know,
that's what I always feel about the Indian Challenger. And I'm not trying to talk shit, but that underneath the seat, that long ass battery oil tank box area, it's like 2 feet long. Yeah. You know, and I guess I'm used to a Dyna or an FXR where there was some kind of like, that's almost like the heart of the bike in that little general area. So, like, it needs to look good right there for some fucking weird reason.
Yeah, it could also be like, you know, if you're into Harleys, like, and that's your main thing. Yeah. All Harleys pretty much have a really good little central area right there around the oil tank. Like, FXR is probably the best looking one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
people get that tattooed on them. So
yeah,
even you don't see no Dyna squares.
Even the new Softails aren't bad, like, because they just look like an old oil bag. But you know what I mean? So like they've always looked good. Yeah. Like. And so probably when you see something different, you're like, oh, this is horseshit.
It's not. I think it's off. It's like there's something off about this bike, and I think it's right in this area.
It's like a scaling thing or something. Yeah.
But I get it. I mean, they have a monoshock frame. They need the space there to do all that. But you know, when Harley does do this touring chassis and monoshock, if it looks like that, I'm out. You know what I mean? I don't think I can.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what they do.
They did well with the Softail, and they did well with the. I feel like the new Sportster S. I mean, even though it's a little V-rod-ish, I think if you with some builders putting some parts on it, can kind of bring it back.
Yeah, I think like Suicide Machine did a really good one. I think it was them.
On the I wonder if it was them. Every time
Speed Merchant.
It might be Speed Merchant, but I mean, everything Suicide builds I'm a fan of.
Yeah, even
You
those
know what I mean?
live wires, those things are fucking
dude,
bad.
I rode that live wire.
Did
he
you
built.
really?
It's fucking. That was the only live wire I've ever ridden. And he said, "Here, jump on this, take it down the highway." And yeah, it's fucking stupid fast, dude.
Yeah.
And it's weird as hell when you come to a light and you don't hear anything, you don't feel anything.
No shifting, no nothing.
It's just go. And it's like, fortunately, those bikes have like retard modes for retarded people that don't know how to act on a bike, basically. So it won't let it wheelie, it won't let it go retarded on you. So definitely getting canceled for that one.
Yeah.
I think it's still good.
Yeah. It passes.
No, but so, Born Free went well last year. Got the invite back this year. Did you already have a plan what you wanted to build this year?
Oh, fuck no. No, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a single part stashed away. No, nothing.
Because the last build, you kind of fell into the twin cam motor, and then you built around that. So how'd you decide on a Shovelhead?
I knew I wanted a Shovelhead at some point. I didn't know it was going to pop up like it did. And then just once, when the time was coming up, I was like, oh, well, like I was going to sell that. I sold that Sportster of mine, like the newer one. And when I was selling that, I was like, I want to find like a Shovelhead to build. But it was like real loose. I just like told friends and have them keep an eye out. And so as soon as the Born Free shit happened, I was like, oh, I got to find a bike. I have nothing. Like, and I'm sure as hell not going to say no or I don't have a bike to do or nothing like that. I was like, I'll just figure it out. And a buddy that was retiring in the Army up in Killeen had a 72 shovel that he was selling and just made me a deal I couldn't pass up. Like sold me the bike, and then everything I gave him back off the bike I wasn't going to use, he took money off of. So I just took the bike, stripped it down, kept what I wanted, gave him back the rest, and I got it for pretty fucking cheap.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but it was already like what I wanted. I wanted a magneto shovelhead, like cone shovel, and then it was already kick only. It ran. It was recently rebuilt. Like,
that's good.
Yeah, I just want to be able to like swap out shit, polish things, and not have to worry about it right away.
Yeah, making sure the internals are good still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it was gonna be. It's the first older motor I've had, like older than like 94.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go into it with like a fucking basket case and have to learn that way, Like, I'd rather it run and be okay, and then when I have to tear it apart, like, I'm tearing apart something decent, so I recognize how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And just,
I've never owned anything older than an Evo, but for some reason I just love the way Shovelheads look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's a way to like a motor, but
I think they're the best looking one.
Yeah.
Like it's just the rockers, like the rocker boxes.
Yeah,
It's just so visually appealing.
it's like they're big enough. Like a knucklehead looks cool, but it also looks like a tiny little motor in there, if you will, to me.
Yeah.
And I like the larger heads on the or the larger rockers on the Shovelhead. It just kind of fits. Even though there's a Sportster that looks just like it, and that kind of throws me off.
Yeah,
that
the
iron
heads. Yeah. Those are weird, though, because with a big cam cover on the side, like it just looks like it has a double primary, like just like a full cover on both ends.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like that, it was cool to see you do that, because I know that on the last podcast, we talked about you kind of being the guy that did a twin cam chopper into the People's Champ, but I felt like that also was what made you more noticed.
Yeah,
because you just built a badass bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like trying to be period correct or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, and trying to do like a crazy molded chopper and shit like that. Like,
you just made something that looks like people want to fucking ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it definitely didn't work out when it came to like the voting for People's Champ. Like, but it worked out overall, like really well, just because like I didn't get shit for People's Champ, like, but a ton of people came up, like. Like even like important people from companies and shit, everyone had a lot of good things to say, so that was awesome. And then at the show, like just again, like tons of the invited builders, like stuff like that, like coming up, and then I got like the best modern, like Born Free award. So I got an award at Born Free, and like I don't know, to me that was huge. Like
I think that the best award to get on being like a builder in any case or anything you do on a bike is within the peers in which the community you're in, right? So all these other builders and companies noticing you to me, that would be more important to me than any piece of trophy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Trophies are cool to say that, but it becomes bragging rights online. It doesn't necessarily, what's more important and more longevity is those relationships built through those, doing something that people that actually build go, that's fucking rad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might not be the Jenny shovel or the panhead or all this other, shit they call these bikes. Where the fuck?
Yeah, no, and like just like that was like the first time getting to build something and be in one spot where like all these people you talk to online.
Oh yeah.
Also, like everyone that like people are like, oh, I followed this, and you're like, oh, that's fucking weird, like it's awesome. I appreciate it, but like it's still weird,
Yeah, Born Free is the ultimate like Instagram reunion.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year it was a little overwhelming last year, so I'm really excited to go back this year, even though it's different, but it'll a little used to it. Like I've done it before at least, it's not gonna be as weird.
That's good. So when you were doing this bike, so when you picked up the shovel, like did you already have do you feel like you've created like your own kind of vibe style to these bikes yet, or do you think you're still in that process of figuring out yourself within it?
I think I'm figuring it out. I think I like the look of rigid choppers, like really aggressive, like taller, super narrow, like old Frisco bikes, or like there's like guys out of Japan doing like rigid choppers that are just, they fucking rule. And like just there's a certain style to it. And I just like all that stuff. But I also like modern touches to it. Like I don't want to deal with shitty drum brakes. I don't want to deal with like shitty old Timken wheel bearings, like stuff like that. Like I just like those sort of things being newer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So like maybe like there's definitely a theme. Like if you look at all three of them, like they're very, one's a Sportster, one's a twin cam, and now a shovel. But like there's definitely similarities.
Yeah, yeah. I can see the rigid frame situation there on the back, and then kind of. Do you have the pictures on there?
Yeah, which one you want?
Just the newer one.
I put up a little bit of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like there's guys like Tooth and Nail build some really, like, I like that kind of, I hate saying this word, but like that performance chopper vibe.
It kind of is. Like it's yeah, now that like the performance thing gets thrown around so much, it's kind of odd, but it's that is what it is. Like you're making them like I'm not going to go touring on it obviously, but like with the high mids and shit like that, but it's
the tuck though, the back wheel being kind of tucked in, like it feels like it really syncs up that whole back half of the bike. It doesn't to give it more of an agile kind of, I feel like a little bit more Midwest D-rate kind of looking vibe, even though it's not.
It's the scaling too, because it's a stock dimensioned. I used like stock panhead rigid dimensions for the frame when I built it, but the rear wheel is a 19. So it's a 19 rear and a 21 front. So, and the tire, like that 19.4 Bates, like Baja tire, like it's a little more BMX tire looking knobby. And it just changed it. Like it completely changed the look. It made making a fender a complete bitch. But.
Well, even like the twin cam, pull the twin cam one up. The twin cam one, like, I was in love with the way you did like the fender struts and stuff like that, like with the touches on the rear fender. What size rear tire did you run on that one?
It's just it's a 150 70/18.
Okay, so it's not super fat, but it's not super skinny either. So it's kind of good balance.
No, it's not super narrow. It's like
dude, that thing is just
like a Sportster.
Tits, dude.
It's dope.
I love that one.
Yeah, I was happy with that thing.
Won't you stay?
One day.
Yeah.
When life changes a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, just seeing these things they're talking about, because it just kind of like, I don't know, just feel like I'm falling into shit. Like, it's just kind of, I keep saying yes to things, and things just keep kind of working out. Like, I'm clearly, like, working my ass off to get there, but it's still, like, just going with shit.
I mean, one of my favorite movies, man. Yes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
When you make yourself available to do things, and that's one thing about the industry is that like a lot of people will get invited to be a part of things, and a lot of people don't show up. They don't take those opportunities. And there's guys like me and a lot of other people who are like, "Fuck, dude, give me this opportunity." Yeah. Like these dudes clearly don't understand how important these are. But when you do lean into them, man, like I think the doors really, really do open up. You know what I'm saying? And what I've noticed on this bike, and this is just my ignorance on it, is that I feel like you've really, like watching you build all these mounts on the frame and then use a scaler on there to kind of make them look like old cast parts. Like I've always seen that tool, I never knew what the
Never
fuck
knew.
it was for.
It's not for that.
It's not for that because
No,
it made sense.
It's meant for like blasting old thick rust off of like bolts and shit, or like old paint off like industrial machinery.
Yeah.
And you can use it so like in welding, like structural welding, like if you're building up weld to machine back down, or like building up an engine case, I'll weld an engine case and then I'll needle scale it because it breaks the surface tension.
Oh, okay.
Like it, just like a golf ball, you know, like it pokes, like puts all the divots in it. It breaks up the surface tension, so less likely to crack. And then you weld on top of that again, the needle scale, and you know, over and over. And then, but I started using it repairing engine cases, like to match the cast aluminum texture.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then, so going into this, I was like, oh, like I had the idea, I wanted to chrome the frame from the beginning, so I knew that would work well, like texture wise, and. Yeah, but then that shit takes fucking forever. And like your arms just go numb because it's just vibrating the shit out of you. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I was curious about that too.
Yeah. And it's just a violent little tool, and it's loud as shit. Like I would try to do it at home, and my compressor would just run out of air so much. So like I would take all the little small parts and like do them like after we'd clock out at the end of the day when people would leave and use the giant compressor at work. And it would just hammer through those parts in like 2 minutes as opposed to like 20 at home.
So you did you build that frame scratch all the way?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you even start that? You just set the motor in like a jig and just kind of start stringing it up, or how does that usually?
Yeah, I feel like I cheated this time because I bought one of those frame fixtures from CT Newman. Yeah, from Christian, and that thing just
makes it easy.
Yeah, it just rules. It's perfect. Like it's. And so I just did that, and then I knew I was just wanted to use like the stock rigid, like panhead dimensions, so I didn't want to go up with it or anything.
You did a single down tube and like what do they call it when it's underneath it? Is it just
single down tube?
Single down tube. Yeah,
it's like that's a real Midwest style thing. Like there's a bunch of dudes like, I mean like two of my like probably the most popular, like my favorite frame builders are like Ben Jeff, like, and he's in Indiana, I think like Fort Wayne, and then this dude Brice Zalstra choppers or whatever, I think he's in Michigan, but they're just like they're well known for doing the super tough guy style, like Midwest like single tube frames, and yeah, I just wanted one. I love them. Like I like the way they look. You can make them super narrow. They open up just everything about the motor. Like there's nothing in the way.
Yeah. And those motors are designed so they have the front plate and the rear plate of the motor, right? So you just kind of set them in there. It's really easy to put those in the bike versus like newer twin cams, how they have to bolt up to the transmission and shit like that.
Yeah, even just like the rear mount on the twin cam I did last year, like it basically had to pin like an axle like all the way through the frame. And then, I mean, the front bolt's just like a regular big twin, but it's still goofy. Like, and this, like, but with that frame jig, it was fucking easy.
Then, so, with you working at West Coast, do you think a lot of, like, do you feel like you've gained, like, little skills or, like, honed some skills by being there, working on motorcycles all day long? Versus, like, all the props and the crazy shit you were building before
I feel like I used to not be in, like, the motorcycle mindset, like, all day, you know? Like, it was, like, clock out, and then I would start doing it. So, like, it would take a little bit to, like, get into gear. Yeah. And now I'm in it all day. So things, it just feels more natural, you know? Like, there's not quite the switch, like, when I go home and start working on my bike and stuff like that. And then definitely, like, learn stuff, you know? Like, just whether it's just from I'm doing it more, like, I'm getting better at things, or just other people there, you know, like asking questions, just learning little shit.
And is it more like, you know, I'm asking this, like I said, once again, from a very dumb perspective, but is it more like assembly line type things, or how are the bikes being built there? Are they like a bike is ordered and then there's like some kind of like version of modifications to fit that buyer, and then it kind of goes down the line of, you know, this one's getting this, and this, or how does it?
Yeah, I think like they kind of pick a like the base model, like what they want, like whether they want like one of the swing arm dominators or they want like a rigid dominator, a CFL, whatever. They pick one of those, and then give them the details they want, like if they want it to be stainless, if they want it to be painted, engraved, all that, you know, whatever. And then everything else is done, I mean, by hand. Like bend the tubing, build the frames, like, and it's all real one-off now. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
No
not
assembly
really
line.
production at all anymore. Like it's like start a frame, go from there, and then put the motor in, then go from there. Like it's step by step, and it's
Is it kind of like when you go to y'all have Freebirds down there, the burrito
Oh, yeah.
joint? You know when you get like someone at Freebirds, like
Yeah.
they go down the whole
Yep.
line with you.
Yeah.
So do you like start a project with a build and kind of go down the whole line with the customer? Or do you do just a part and then hand it off?
No, so like I basically like do like handle like just bike building.
Okay.
Like and it's pretty much just me that handles like the bike building, and then there's a guy that helps with all, like Jesse does sheet metal for the tanks and stuff still.
That's rad.
And like it's usually like a shell, like he does like the shell of a tank or a fender or whatever, and then all the mounting, finishing up the bottom and stuff like that, like he'll hand off to me. And then we have a designated mechanic that handles like the wiring, plumbing, just keeping them running, shit like that.
Yeah.
And then this guy Victor that just came back, he used to work for him in Long Beach for like 20 years.
Damn.
And he just moved to Texas and started working back, but he's just like a sheet metal wizard.
Nice.
Like, but he was doing all the production sheet metal in Long Beach, so he was knocking out like 80 fenders a day, or like just
damn.
like ridiculous numbers. And so he can work quick, fast, knows how to make all the fenders, the
Yeah.
tanks, shit like that. And but he's also does some stuff for the cars and whatnot. So it's like a real small crew. So it's a lot more personal and like
Yeah.
handmade parts, you know, like.
Yeah, that it's kind of that makes sense for it tonight. I mean, it's nowhere near the production of what it was back when it was in Long Beach.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what makes them more valuable. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's not like a mass produced product. It's a you know, a handmade motorcycle for the most part. So his whole brand, man, has done well. Of like, I don't know if it's so much the brand or just the name in itself, and how many people are in love with the West Coast Choppers nostalgia of the motorcycle industry. That, you know, his parts still bring stupid money.
Yeah.
Those old, you know, the old, like, it's kind of like Arlen Ness parts with FXRs. There's chopper dudes with West Coast Choppers original parts, and there's like, oh, these are knockoffs. It didn't have the fucking, you know, the symbol it's cocked to the right a little bit. So
Yeah, you can see just like the Iron Cross air cleaners, like
Yeah.
for sale on eBay, and they're just ridiculous numbers. And like the frames and stuff, it's wild. Like getting to be in that world and see all that,
Yeah.
and then learn of all the little CFL groups and
yeah.
forums and shit like that. Like it's wild.
I mean, it's wild in itself, but it's also like, man, at that time, I mean, I try to put myself back in that time of like internet forums, falling in love with this bike thing, and for the first time, like being able to find a community nationwide or worldwide through the internet, because his popularity, or the West Coast Choppers' popularity, popped up and became mainstream right when the internet did more than just show you pictures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can actually interact with people more on there. So I feel like he's one of the first, I wouldn't say the .com kind of bubbles, but in the motorcycle world, he's the one that had like the chopper dogs and all these different things going on, where people were able to connect on a deeper level than just like their neighborhood or their local bike night, or, you know, an easy rider show for the area.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he had his own forum.
Yeah.
Like, and he even, like, I mean, that's just wild alone, you know? And that drove so much of all that culture back then and stuff like that. And then, like, the parties he would throw and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And it's cool that we're kind of getting back into doing the parties or the shows again, because they're doing that Lonely Star Roundup. That was the first one last year.
never heard of it.
It was the first one happened
Is it
last year. It was
invite
like
only?
a car and bike show. No, but it was thrown together in like 8 days,
Yeah.
and it was kind of in response to the Lone Star Roundup and some weird, goofy
yeah.
shit that was going on, and like that show not happening and all this and that, and then so he just decided to make his own. But I mean, it was. I don't know. It was a lot like his old parties he used to throw. And the second one's it's coming up. It's in like September. I can't remember the exact date. It's September something. I think it's
The best thing ever
I think
is
it's Labor Day weekend.
the very first Texas Hill show ever. The very first Texas Hill show was at Proof and Cooper over there.
Yeah.
And so I remember he shows up on a Busa, a turbo Busa.
Oh yeah.
and everybody like couple guys come out into the backyard where all the show's going. He goes, dude, Jesse James is here. He's in there he's at the bar, you know, and it's just so funny. Like it seems like my idea of him would do some fucking shit like that, like not bring one of his badass fast V twins. Like I think at the time he had a couple police bikes and shit.
Oh yeah, still do.
I'm gonna bring the Hayabusa up here.
Yeah, no, that's
full race leathers.
Very him. Yeah, like at that show last year, like he drove up in like his trophy truck. It was just ripping through a parking lot and just like, but it's coming up again. It's happening again. So
that's dope. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's cool. And it's like it's right around the corner from the shop.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, you're building these bikes every day. Do you think doing that has affected your style, like your vision of what you like to see in a bike, or, you know, being so immersed in building these other type of bikes?
I don't think so. I feel like there's definitely like a line from what I get to work on there, like, because I'm still building what he wants. So I'm not necessarily really getting to pick like what I would do. I'm trying to just like build what he has a vision of, like his like direction. And like I definitely get to play around with some things, you know, like he gives me freedom like quite a bit with a lot of things, you know, but he still has to sign off on it. So it's not always the exact way I'd want to do it, but I'm not as, I feel like we're doing things maybe a little more flashy, you know, like, or maybe sometimes more details in it or something like that than I would. Like, I'm just not.
You leave the details to the ARPs?
Yeah. Oh, fuck, man.
It's your fault, man.
Dude, it is.
I found a website
terrible
to get them on, and I think I talked about it once on the podcast, and now they're fucking out of bolts everywhere.
Probably. Yeah. It's been, I've been having to go multiple places to find it. But just like, you know, little shit like that. Like, I just like, more, like simpler looking things, like not any less work put into it, but just looks simpler.
Yeah, that's honestly that's kind of one of the hardest things to do, is to make something simple. Sometimes simple is way harder to make than complex, or than something that looks complex, right? Yeah. Because simple means that you have to, like, the quality has to be better of everything you do. And I'm saying this as paint. So a solid color paint job can sometimes be a lot harder than a multicolor paint job, because then, you know, you look down the bag and there's no graphics to kind of block or break things up. There's no way to hide anything. So you have to be a better craftsman to do simplicity than you do, you know, like a mini truck. A mini truck always had wild paint jobs on it, but I felt like mini truck industry, for the most part, was a good way for people, fabricators, painters, you know, all that shit, to kind of get their feet wet in customizing. Right, because everything's wild. So you make all this, you mold the whole interior and some subs and some nitrous bottles, and that's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
But it's probably not the kind of work that's going to last. But for that turkey drag you did this year, it's perfect, right? And it gives people the chance to get like in that mindset of creativity. And some people stick with it and they move on to motorcycles or you know, just the trucking industry or whatever. I don't even know what it's necessarily called, but like just modified like full-size trucks that they fix up and shit like that.
Yeah, like doing C10s and shit like that.
Yeah. So I feel like some people kind of go the motorcycle route. They kind of love the fabrication more of the welding and creating things and shit like that. I mean, it seems like more of the people that are into the tubes or the chassis or building and fabricating those kind of lean into motorcycle world more than some others.
I know I personally like it because it's like the size of it. It's a scale. You can do so much with it before it gets super sketchy. And but like you can build the same frame a handful of different ways, you know, depending on materials, finish, how much work you're gonna put in it to get the like desired finished effect, you know, painted, polished, chrome, whatever. I don't know. I just like the size of it too. Like,
well, I would imagine like if say you're C-notching a frame or some shit, or you're making some tubular arms for, you know, a truck. Mm-hmm. Like, and you make some badass suspension components and you put on this fucking frame that looks ugly as shit.
Yeah.
And so as a fabricator, I would think like, I want to build this whole frame now. I want to make everything
100%.
Match what I just made. And then, because you would see that too in the mini truck. You see people do these elaborate ass, you know, 4-link setups in the back. I'm just regurgitating words I've heard. I have no idea what shit.
No, you're right. You got the number right.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like. I was trying to think. I fucking thought of something that threw me off, but it.
Because you were doing all that shit for like some truck stuff too before you got into the bike thing, right?
Kind of. It was more like, I feel like it was a little more touch of redneck to it though, like off-roading and rock crawling and shit like that, you know, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
And it was young and I didn't even weld or do anything then. But yeah, so building like the suspension and putting on like a shitty frame, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And you'd want to make a frame, and that's, 100%. Like that's like where I would want to go with it. Like I'd want to build a frame because I don't just want to bolt this bullshit to it. But then also like with the car stuff, you do all that and then it's under the car. You don't see it.
Yep.
And on a bike, you build a frame, especially like one like the single tube I just did. Like it's out in the open. Like everything's in the open. You can't hide shit.
It's
on
part
it.
of the aesthetic of the bike. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I like the challenge of having it all out in the open, and just the way it looks too. Like.
Yeah, I was when I was just at Justin Hingham Highs earlier, we were talking about it because he's kind of in this transition where he's not quitting choppers and all that stuff, but he's just leaning more into like the demographic of bikers that are paying to get shit done. And we were talking about that because there's like a big divide, if you will, maybe not divide intentionally, but you have in one hand the chopper world of like vintage choppers where people. The whole goal is to get this bike in a barn, super cheap, not have to spend any money on it. Like the goal is, I got this. I'm only $4,000 in this whole bike. Like that's the flex at bike night, right? And then there's the other side of it, like you're building a bike and you're putting hundreds of hours into making all these fine details. And so it makes a weird dynamic where you're both building choppers, but one is a complete different spectrum where this dude's got $4,000 in his bike and your bike would go for $40,000. You know what I'm saying? Where I mean, this is all hypothetical, but I just feel like that's such a conflicting place to be in a type of bike. Like
it's definitely a weird spot. Like and I notice and I think about it a lot because like I see and like this is absolutely no knock on anyone else building the bike. Like I appreciate all of them. Anyone that even does any of this shit, no matter to the extent, like it's cool. It's like as long as you're not trying to fake what you're doing or like trying to build up what you're doing more than you really are, like I'm fine with it. But like some people just like a nice like period correct panhead, or they like molding them, like nice paint jobs, shit like that. Like it's a gorgeous bike, but that's just I don't know. Like it's kind of just. Not really building it. You're kind of like you're putting together a super nice bike.
Yeah, modifying
it. And like I think like I just like actually building things, and I think it just naturally goes a certain direction.
That makes sense. Yeah, like if you're making these parts instead of repurposing parts, which I think the other scene is kind of like swap meet. Oh fuck, I found this tank. Like it's got an original paint job from back in the day, and like that's what's cool about it. And I'm not knocking it either. It's just to have a business within it, it gets complicated because one side is literally not trying to spend any money. The other side is about like it's labor intensive. It's creating. It's more art, if you will.
Yeah, and it's time because like those dudes are like going to swaps trying to find these exact parts they're looking for sometimes like years to put a single bike together and like just stashing parts. And like I'm still so new in all this shit, and I like just getting into like the older bikes with Shovelheads now. I could go to a swap and not know what the fuck I'm looking at yet. Like I don't know those parts that way yet. Like the ins and outs of everything. Like I can figure shit out, but I don't know. And like I'm envious of the people that do know. Like they can walk through and pick out a pile of parts and know it's worth.
Know where it's going.
Yeah. Like what it's for, it's worth, what other bikes it fits, anything like that.
Yeah, but when it comes to sheet metal and shit, like you could make it.
Yeah, that's a lot of things. I look at that and I'm like, I'll just make one. Like I don't need that special set of risers. I'll just make my own, or I'll make the bars, or like I made more shit on this bike than I have in the past. Like every single one is like.
What's some of the new parts that you've? Like, are they parts that you've never made before ever, and you learned how to make them on this build?
Yeah, like the fork lowers.
Okay.
For one, like the Barney style, like extended fork lowers. Like they're about like 4 inches longer than like a stock lower. But then just Yeah, man. Like, there's a lot that goes into that shit. Figuring out all the like the bushings inside, like the sliders, like finding.
So
the
you
right
machine the
seals.
whole fuckers out of like solid.
No, so I had help machining the bottom. It's like a cap, like
Okay.
an axle block, I guess. Kind of like it'd be like equivalent to an axle plate. That part's machined and then press fit into like a chromoly tube.
Oh, okay. That
And
makes sense.
I used the chromoly tube because I had like the tightest dimensions. Like they're real accurate.
That's what they make a lot of roll cages and shit out of, right?
Yeah, it's just strong as fuck too. Like, but it's real true to size and shape and everything. So I knew like with the bushing having to slide through it like the fork slider, it'd be accurate. So yeah, I pressed it in there, welded it in. Yep, there they are.
So
And
the
then,
bottom part where the
yeah.
axle is down there, it's pressed up into the tube itself?
Yep, it's pressed in and welded, and then I just sanded it, like blended it out so you can't see it.
Nice.
And then, so here's an example of drawing it all up first. Like, let me figure it out. Like, I'd find material sizes, shit like that. Then I was able to use that SketchUp 3D app on my iPad and draw all that stuff.
Okay.
Just like, and I drew the triple trees in there, everything. And, but yeah, that was a wild undertaking because just not doing it before, you know? And then also just seeing like that drawing there and then how it came out. It's exact, like it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing. And I wanted a set of them, but the only people that I knew of that made them at the time, one guy is in like the Netherlands or somewhere, like alley choppers.
Oh, where?
He goes by Alley Choppers. I think he's in the Netherlands, or
Netherlands,
something like that. Yeah. He makes them, but he has like a reasonable wait time, but like it was longer than I could. And then Mullins Chain Drive used to make some, and then Barney's is the original that made them. And they're like $1,500 for a shitty rusty pair. And then the more I started looking at it, I was all, fuck, I could just make this. And then they're also all like 35 millimeter.
Okay.
I think they're small.
Did you go 39 on this?
Yeah, I
one?
used 39.
there you go.
And that's like the example of like the more modern things. Like
So
39 millimeter internals are so good. Like,
Did you do like any kind of suspension upgrades internally? Like
just like nice
Emulator.
progressive springs and shit like that? You know, nothing special.
yeah, that makes sense.
I wasn't gonna go overboard with it. I did it on that twin cam. Like it has like emulators and preload adjusters and all that shit. But like,
I wonder, does that work if you're not doing like a rear shock in the back to kind of counter it some kind of way?
I feel like it made a little bit of a difference,
Yeah.
but not enough to
Yeah.
spend that money on it.
For sure.
Like it just, it wasn't worth that much.
Went from watching this guy rip BMX in San Antonio to building him.
Oh shit.
Nice.
That's wild. Yeah. Yeah, BMX definitely drove a lot of this shit. Like, I think, like, the style-wise, for sure. It's definitely why, like, the chrome frame I did this year,
Yeah.
like, why it's chrome. And I didn't blend any of the welds down. And
Do you use the
did it-
same chrome guy you've been using?
Yeah.
Is that the same guy you had some issues with?
Man, I
don't mean to
what's
talk
weird?
bad.
No, it's unfortunate. He's a super nice guy, and I think he means well. And I've unfortunately heard time issues, like time frame issues with it.
Yes.
Not quality of work or anything, but just time frame. And it's just kind of a bummer, like to hear that.
Well,
and,
I think what happened was
kinda
I
how I
think he
felt
got
about it, too.
overwhelmed. He, because you brought it up, then Justin Hingham High used him on that Sportster build, and then Justin Page from My Machinist used him on that recent build. And then all the homies are like, dude, we got a chromer up here now, and they're out there by RPM Designs up there in Oklahoma. So, we've been partying in Oklahoma a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fun up there, dude. It's
Yeah,
good times
is it?
up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got to do some more events up there.
And
for sure.
And I mean, I was like, I had always had like a good standing with him. Like he did the lowers and shit for me super fast last year, and we've kept in touch. And like I see him and shit like that. And
I think you're right, though. I think it was just more of a he just got overwhelmed, got too much workload at once, and he's got prior stuff to do, and I don't know.
Yeah.
maybe
I mean,
sometimes
I'm
people are
hoping
just too nice to be fully honest about like not being able to do something.
That's
you know,
exactly it.
and like. I don't know, but it worked out, and but I made sure I was real clear about like, hey, like, I planned this all out. I prepped the frame to where I chroming it was the first idea.
Yeah.
But I was all, if not, I'll paint this fucker black and be done with it. I don't care. You know, like, because it'll always look good being painted black. Like, it'll look awesome chrome, but it's going to look perfect black too. So I don't give a shit. But I was like, if you can actually do it in this time frame, I'll drive it up to you. And it just worked out because he was like getting married and driving down to Austin like the weekend after getting married. So he was like, if you get it to me by this time, I'll do it and I'll bring it back down to you. I was like, all right, cool. And then even when I was there, I was like, if anything happens at all, just tell me, no harm, no foul. I'll come up and pick it back up. Like, if it's not going to get done. Like, I was like, it's not even like I'll be mad about it. I don't care. Like, I have.
Just don't put me in a bad spot.
Yeah, I just don't want to be put in a bad spot at all. And, but yeah, no, he fucking knocked it out. I picked it up at like Saturday at 11 p.m. when he got to Austin, like in the middle of a thunderstorm. It was fucking pouring rain and trunks open, just like in the hotel parking lot, like loading motorcycle parts out of the back of the trunk.
Sketchy shit, bro.
It was too, because it was like by the airport in East Austin. Like it was, like, but it worked out and I got it. And like, it's all bright nickel plated also. Like it's not actual chrome. I always heard like real conflicting things about chrome motorcycle frames.
Man, honestly, I think the chrome conversation is really hard to have nowadays because it's been outlawed in so many parts of the country that we bought, like he ended up taking the rest of his stuff to Politos here in Dallas, which is a company that we used to use back in the day when we were building bikes or customizing
stuff.
Oh,
a lot of lowrider shit we used to do, because people would bring their sport bike wheels to us, or like when we would build a sport bike, and I say build like that version of building, we would like take it down the frame, take the frame, swing arm, subframe, tons of parts to them, and Politos would do it here. And they always had good chrome, but sometimes they wouldn't do the best polishing, and you would see kind of it would reflect into the chrome. The best chrome ever was always this company called Sport Chrome. It was out of California, and they used to have, like, when you send shit to them, you'd come back, it'd be like individually bagged. Everything was like so professionally done. It was expensive as fuck, but it was so good. And then when you would tighten bolts down on it, it would never pop off. You know? And
that's been the biggest issue.
and that's one of the things about chrome. It's like getting it all to adhere to the frame really well and not do that bubbling issue. And then for a while, it got real famous or popular where people wanted to chrome and then candy powder coat on top to get that real true
like
anodized kind of mirror chrome kind of situation. And sometimes the heat would pop the chrome as well. It's just it's just tough. And there's so few chromers out there now, and it's like a dying fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like coming from like with the BMX shit, like chrome frames and parts and shit like that were always real notorious for breaking. Because chrome does kind of eat at the metal a little bit and like thins it up. So like chrome handlebars, shit like that, and eventually they started catching on and just started like bright nickeling everything, and parts stopped breaking. So I kind of always had that in my head.
Okay.
And then when I talked to Gus about it, he even said like all the frames he's ever done, he's only nickel plated them, like instead of chromed them for that reason. Like it usually holds better, it's a little tougher. And so I was like, all right, like, you know,
Makes
fuck
sense,
it, like just do that, you know. And then just had to match all the other parts, so it wasn't like, it didn't look weird, because chrome definitely looks different. Like
when you put chrome against nickel,
the nickel's just like a touch darker, like polished stainless and polished aluminum. Like one's brighter, like it's the same thing. And so, but yeah, I don't know. He was able to knock it all out though. Yeah.
So, did you decide to take on the paint on your own this time with the tins, or how's that working?
I was about to.
Okay.
Because I kind of dropped the ball on getting my shit together and getting all the work done on it I needed to send to Daniel, the Nerudu, because he was going to paint it for me.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Daniel out of fucking, he's on the podcast.
In Italy, and I was stoked because he's an amazing painter, especially when it comes to that type of chopper paint job and stuff. And then he was just like, he just offered to do it. Like, he was just going to do it just for, I don't know, advertisement, just for whatever, you know. And
have your work in on a Born Free build. It means something. You know what I mean? It's a dope opportunity. It's like a bagger.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like not like something someone's going to be spending the next 3 weeks working on.
That's true. You know, it's like 3 days.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that was awesome. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, I know I need to get it done by this date, the international shipping to get it to him and shit like that. And then I just either couldn't make my mind up on stuff or just couldn't get to where exactly I needed. And then it got later and later. And finally I was like, dude, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, I'm not comfortable.
A long way.
100% confident he would get it done. I was scared of the shipping, like it getting lost. I mean, all it would have taken is like one box to get lost, and I was fucked.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll just paint it. You know, like I kind of got like a color scheme, and I was like, oh, I can work it out. You know, I can do that much. Mm-hmm. And then I can also just bug our painter at work for like all the questions I need to know, like how to do this, how to do that. And then I ended up sending it to this dude Peter in Cleveland that goes by Quick Color.
I haven't heard of him.
He does a lot of chopper paint job stuff too. Real similar style to Daniel's actually. Just chopper flames, stuff like that. But he's good.
So bad flames.
No, wait, those are great flames. I like those flames. That's my style flame.
I'm about some chopper flames.
Fuck those
Hell
chopper
yeah.
flames.
No, so
my first try.
But he hit me up and was just like, "Hey, is he not doing it now?" And I was like, "No, like this and this happened." He's all, "Well, I mean, I could fit it in. Like, I'll do it if you want." And then just kind of talked about it a little bit, like worked out a price.
Yeah.
I was able to afford it and just kind of sent it to him.
That's dope.
So,
yeah, there's definitely a style that fits choppers versus a style that, I don't know, like I said, I've had this conversation so many times about flames, like chopper style flames versus like someone that's practiced before, you know? And I get it. There's a look that it fits it. If you make the paint look like real shitty too, then those flames fit the shitty finish. You know,
yeah, if it's on something else shitty, it looks even shittier. It's great.
yeah, it's a trifecta of shit. So, but
no, I never actually. I forgot I didn't post a photo of it. I did like a rendering of it.
Yeah.
And like it's not exactly chopper flames. They're a little different. Mm-hmm. And when I showed him, he was like, "Oh no, I can do that. I'm down to copy it." He didn't like have the weird ego. Some like painters would be like, "No, I don't want to do that shit. Like I want to do my style on that." He was like, "No, I can just copy that. If that's what you want, I'll do that." Yeah, fuck those guys.
fuck me.
And so, because I just like had like a real specific idea, I guess, of like how I want it to look, and also go in kind of like a different direction in the colors compared to like other of the fucking tough guy bikes people try to do. You know, like it's already a chrome frame, and then the flames are gonna be mint green and like lavender. Like they're like Gravedigger, like double image layered.
Nice.
Like,
I fuck with that. That's dope.
So it's and on black, like on like black base. So it's like real, like I don't know, just remind me of Gravedigger kind of.
Yeah.
Trying to find this picture of
Was it Dennis Anderson, something like that? I forget his name.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
I just remember that from like the T-shirts that I had as a kid.
I was going back and forth between those colors and then like Miami Dolphins colors. Like the teal,
like
the
a
teal
white
and orange and
white.
like white stripe or something.
No, that'd be dope.
I don't know why I've always loved those colors.
Dude, Justin, my machinist,
good.
said it this year, and I have to co-sign on it. He said this year is the year of the pastel.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Like-
he knocked out that mint.
A lot of people have done pastel. Like I use all pastel pinstripe colors on my bike.
Yeah,
there's been quite a few people that have done.
his whole bike is like that light
Pastel
robin's
and chrome.
egg or something, right? Or something.
His is like mint
Yeah.
green. Like it's
Isn't
not
it?
quite the robin's egg. That's more turquoise-ish.
Maybe it might. Yeah, it might just be like how it looks like on my screen. However
Yeah.
it is. Looks a little more blue anytime I've seen it.
That's how fucking flames are supposed to look, brother.
I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's
It's
not
bad. That's the ones I did for
In the archives.
Xavier. For that build for Xavier.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
I was wondering why that looked
See,
familiar.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks
See how
great.
See how they like they look like they do something.
Yeah.
They all kind of work
Mine
together.
look like that.
There's
Dude, let me
Justin's.
show you. I'll show you what I drew. You're not gonna be able to see it on the screen, but fuck it. Just to prove a point. That's a little different. But yeah, this was the iPad helping out again. Fuck you go.
Yeah, you can mock stuff up.
Yeah.
Dude, I use it all the time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I drew I took the pictures that I took from the camp out.
Those were like what the
Oh,
way I
yeah.
was figuring
dope.
out. But like
That's got a funky vibe to it, though.
Yeah, and it kind of,
Yeah,
it kind of
see-
matches the shapes.
See, that looks like some shit that would completely fit nowadays.
Okay, yeah,
It
yeah.
reminds me of like some.
Yeah.
What's that hand with the face and the mouth on it that people use in like skateboard culture?
That's that Santa Cruz.
Santa
yeah.
Cruz shit.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of. Some of
Yeah.
that type of
Have
stuff.
you haven't posted that at all? Maybe in your stories or something?
No, I forgot actually.
Okay. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I don't know, that looks familiar. But that's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope.
No, that's a cool way to do it.
Yeah, so like
So that
it's a
doesn't
little
look like
different.
real flames at all. It looks more like a graphic style flame from like a.
They're definitely more squiggly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like little thicker, little.
I'm
little
talking about
different.
those ones that like.
Like the
are-
seaweed flames.
Yeah, seaweed. Yeah, or whatever. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I like them. Certain instances.
It does fit, like I said, when you find, like, the concept is you go to swap meet and you find one of those tanks
Yeah.
that are done that way, and then you take that tank and put it on your bike, you're like, fuck yeah, that's cool. But when you go and you purposely do a bad job at painting to make it look that way, that's where I'm like, dude,
Oh, you're talking about like if you're doing like the faux
like,
patina
to make
like
it look
cracking
like
it and
that
shit.
old shit.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just fucks with my whole nature of being a painter.
That makes sense.
That's why I'm quitting. Fuck
Why
it.
would you scuff up all that fucking buffing? Just
Well, that'd be like seeing someone like weld up a nice part and then
Let's
spraying
make it look like they did it back in the day when they didn't have a TIG welder.
Yeah, or like spray it with vinegar and let it rust. You know that type of shit. Like, which is cool if you know that's how it's supposed to be up front. But
Yeah.
like if you're just I don't know.
There's a vibe to it, I guess, but
Yeah.
there's something cool about building something and let it naturally patina or naturally grow old, and then that's cool because it used to be something new.
Yeah.
But the billet area chopper is going to have a hard time because they can't rust.
No, you can get
They
white
oxidize.
rust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that shit sucks.
White rust, that's the worst kind of rust.
It really is.
I don't know about rust.
Like,
I don't know shit about rust.
We got twin can. We got fucking. You need another one? We have fuel injection. You ever heard of that?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I saw a bike that had fuel injection. It doesn't.
I do have a carbureted bike.
Yeah.
I have a carbureted
mine
bike
operated.
just so I can stay connected to the lower class people out there.
Who made a carb for the M8? Was it HPI?
I think that you can put anything on it.
Yeah.
It's like
okay.
a Thunderheart, I believe, has a wire harness system that basically turns it from a fuel injection to a. You can turn any motor into a.
It's just
basic-
standalone ignition. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I used
Okay.
a Daytona Twin Tech on my
Twin-
twin,
yeah.
on the twin cam, and it just it came with a harness with all the plugs. It just plugged right in.
Nice.
And
You set the dials to what they tell you in the manual based on like the motor, if you have cams, this and that, and it fucking fires right up.
dude,
It
it's
was
so
super-
much
it was
simpler. Like the wiring harness on a carbureted bike versus
Oh,
a fuel
yeah.
injection. It's like, bro,
Just runs all the
simpler times, man.
Yeah,
Back in the day, a dial up.
yeah. My Born Free bike is the dial up of wiring.
Can you still use your heated grips?
It's got like four wires, like no battery. It has a battery eliminator capacitor, so I don't need a battery or anything.
Oh,
'cause
it
it
just
has a
kinda
magneto.
Keeps
Yeah,
running.
that's
Yep.
it, magnetos.
Yeah,
How
once
does
you
it start
kick it,
when you do it? Oh, you kick it. That's right.
Yeah.
So you don't need that initial load to kind of
Nope.
jumpstart this starter.
Yeah, so there's like it's so minimal. It's awesome.
That's dope. I dig it all, man, but I also like to ride across country. And when you tell someone you're going to be at their place on Wednesday at 2
You
p.m.,
know you'll be there at Wednesday.
you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like this podcast where I was supposed to be here at 12.
Hey, better late than never.
But so do you feel pretty confident like everything's on track to make it to Born Free this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I do now. I was pretty nervous. Like the paint's the only thing I don't. Well, the paint and the seat I don't
Okay.
have. The seat is with Rich Phillips in St. Louis. But I again, like I talk to everybody before I send them anything to make sure, be like just don't fucking lie to me. Tell me you can get done. We're cool. Like
Yeah.
so, because if not,
Worst
I'll
part
stress.
is just waiting on stuff. Even though you know it's probably going to come, but you're just like, like it's not in my hands right now. Oh, man.
But it's nice too because Rich did the seat last year for my twin, and like he just already knows the deal. So like, and we had like a good relationship from that. So it worked. You know,
Yeah.
like I trust him to do it.
When I do work with people, I always do this. Like I have a stupid long waiting list for helmets, but when someone hits me up like in January and says, "Hey, I want to do these helmets. Can you have them done for Sturgis?" Right? Well, I'm like, I think I should be caught up by then. If I'm not, then I've already promised that I'll have these done by Sturgis, so I'll skip those in line. because I'm like, hey, look, I made a promise. It's just the way it happens,
Yeah.
right? The other ones aren't promises. They're, you know, they're done at the time that they're done. You know what I'm saying? But when you make a promise to have someone, when someone trusts you for a project for, you know, a Sturgis or a Born Free or something like that, like, you know, you don't want to take it on the project and leave them hanging. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world. And it's a good way to get your name dragged through the mud in this industry.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Because you're out there in the open on that one for sure.
I have
and unfortunately, like, yeah, if something would have happened and I didn't have my frame or didn't have tins, like, I'm almost definitely going to bitch about it openly, you know, to let people know it wasn't my fuck up.
Especially since you made so many efforts to keep that communication open. Like, look, this is, you have an out here. I'm giving you an out the entire time that you have my product or have my parts. So if you feel like you're at that point where you need to take the out, this out is going to be you not getting drugged through the mud, deserving on your part on the internet through me. Let's just wash our hands of it.
Yeah, I've had to do it making parts for people. You know, I've taken on like building parts for people, and for whatever reason, like materials, I got too busy or something, and I've had to be like, hey, I'm really sorry, I can't do this. Like, I have to refund you. Here's this. But like, I've had to. It sucks. Yeah. It's hard. And yeah, it's just, you know, you don't want to let anyone down.
That's still better than not just false promises. You know what I mean? That's 100% better. And then it's also understandable on every aspect, I feel like. So, I don't know.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, though?
So when people ask, when I'm dealing with new customers with helmets, I have this, like, cut and paste information sheet that I send out. And on that information sheet, it says, my timelines are estimates. They're not guarantees. So if I say I'm estimating that I'll be able to touch your helmet in September, right now, I'm thinking I'll be ready in September. If September comes around and I still have 4 helmets to do before I get to yours, that was an estimate, and I had no idea what the world was going to look like between there and now. So unfortunately, that estimate is now off. But I saved myself by saying not a guarantee. Right?
Yeah, that's smart.
So if you need, that's why I would say, do you need this by a certain time? Because if you say, yeah, I need this for the Loretta Lynn show in May, I'm like, there's no way I can do that. Now, if I say I can do that, then now I'm obligated to do like that. To me, that obligation is more important to me than anything else in the world, because I made a vow that I would have it done by that time.
Yeah, like that's the thing you'll be here after hours doing. Like you'll work on whatever you're doing, and then that's the one you come in on a Saturday for or Sunday or whatever the fuck, and you knock it out. Like,
it's just that comes with time. A
a
lot of uncomfortable conversations, but I think that customers that have done this before, they've dealt with people before, they appreciate the honesty more. I guess people that are like, you know, not necessarily, you know, used to dealing with like having things custom made, because you make something one off. Like, you don't have a shelf behind you going, hey, do you want one of these? Like, no, there's nothing behind me. You pay me, and then through me comes out something over here, and I hand it to you, right? And in that world, it becomes really hard to navigate how to balance that, because, you know, I mean, fortunately you have the other job, but at the same time with all these other things you're trying to build, it's complicated. It's in free time, but then you get a Born Free opportunity, and that's kind of trumps a lot of things. So it's kind of more important to get this Born Free thing done than, you know, the motor mount situation over here that you're making for
I
so-and-so.
completely stopped making parts for other people. Like when that happened, like even before when I started at West Coast, I kind of just stopped. I was kind of over it for a little bit. You get a couple like bitchy people, and it's enough to just turn you off to it, especially when like you don't rely on it. You know, like I always had a day job, so I always had that freedom to be like, nah, fuck you. Like if I don't want to do it. And finally I just had enough of them, and I was like, I'm over it.
Like why am I making my day suck? Because
just answering your dumbass questions, like, because you can't figure out a bolt or something. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't happened in a long time, but way back in the day, especially early Instagram days, when, you know, on a Saturday when you're out with your wife and kids and shit, you're like, hey, look, we're at Hurricane Harbor having a good time, and some dude's like, how's my bike look on the comments?
Oh, eat a dick.
Dude. Then at that time in my life, I was not financially stable enough to be like, hey, your bike's on the fucking curb right now. Come get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't at that point yet, but dude, those kind of things, like when you're trying to, like, you know how mentally consuming it is to build a bike, right? To be in this world, right? And so when you dedicate time to go spend with your family, to get away from it, to check into them and not be half-assed hanging out with your family, but also thinking like that, man, that fender strut I built could be this way. Like, it never leaves, right?
Yeah.
And then to get some dude like bitching you out because you're doing what you need to do as a man for your household, like, you're just like, fuck this, fuck you, fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, I've definitely had quite a few of those, and I'd always try to be like, all right, let me just be nice. Just like, you don't understand, like, I do all this beside like a day job. You know, I kind of always had that out, at least, to where I had a day job. Yeah. It was all after hours. So I had that kind of out, and it was legitimately most of the problem. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely just want to be like,
have you had any other building type situations reaching out to you, like the other than the Born Free? Because the Born Free is a big one, dude. Like, that's kind of like one of the biggest. But like, have you been hit up by any other organizations wanting to build stuff for shows?
Not build anything, shows.
Like, bring one of them out, kind of things.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just kind of starting. Like, no one really ever asked about the twin cam thing, like about bringing it out. Like, haters. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Jeff Holt hit me up for that V-Twin Visionary thing that happened in Austin. Yeah. And I took it out to that.
That's where I met you, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, we finally met in person. And then, and it got like Jeff Holt's pick. I got a little trophy from it, which was cool. But he gave me the heads up that he was bringing that show there, and he's like, bring that bike. Like, because I remember seeing him at Born Free.
Politics.
At People's Champ, and he was talking to me about it. He liked it. So... But
I hope we see you at the Texas Hills show.
Oh yeah.
They reached out to you yet about any of that?
My buddy Mikey is one of the guys helping him with it.
Okay.
And so I talked to him a little bit, but nothing like official. But
I'm gonna let them all know.
I'll be there no matter what.
Yeah, I'm gonna let them all know if they don't come to our camp out, then I'm not coming to their event.
Dude, it's in a great spot this year.
Cool.
Too.
I bet. I bet.
So none of them showed up, huh?
They've never showed up.
No.
So I love them all to death, and I love that show.
Yeah.
But hey, bro, this is politics.
That's true.
Fuck with your boy if you want your boy to fuck with you.
That's true.
So.
That being said, a lot of us are still going to go to Texas Hills. So.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
You'll be there for sure.
You better not.
You better not. You're on my side.
Yeah. You just don't
but
hear.
True, though.
You're not going to hear from him, and you're going to see photos of him at Texas Hills. That's what's going to happen.
I'm going to throw something.
Hand on my face and shit.
No photos.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad they're kicking it back off, and it's dope. We honestly, the Austin area, the whole Texas Hills area, no pun intended with the name.
Yeah.
That whole area needs something. I mean, since Giddy Up is gone, since Texas Hills originally went away, there's just been like a void in like for us people in Dallas, I think Houston and maybe some of San Antonio just haven't felt a draw with our scene to go to Austin.
Yeah, and Fandango isn't going to do it for y'all.
I can't really speak on it, but all the homies have gone. I think like Kyle, like y'all more go because Simpson's there. A lot of homies are there. It's not necessarily the show itself that drags them. It's just some of the
exactly. It's just
fun, but
it's a reason to go to the hill.
It's
country.
more of a swap meet and like the flat track racing and like all the goofy shit, the chopper drags and stuff like that, and like the chopper show. But it's real loose, you know. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not like Giddy Up or Texas Hills. Or anything.
Yeah. But with the Texas Hill Show, I mean, it's dope that it's coming back, and I feel like, I mean, all bullshit aside, like I'm excited to go. Like I'm excited to see what they do. I am a proponent of fuel injection, and the last couple of years they put us in the dirt while the choppers got the nice stage.
Have you seen the new venue at all?
I've seen the picture they've been posting. It looks badass.
Yeah,
it really
does. It's a really cool spot.
Yeah.
Like it's out near kind of like near Candelia in Bernie. Like,
so my $60,000 bike is not sitting in the dirt.
Yeah, I don't think it's as
compared
dirty.
to no period. If there's someone sitting on wood, if there's a chopper on wood, my fucking bagger's gonna be sitting on wood too.
All the choppers were in the barn. And
parking the gravel.
I'm gonna go full Karen on these motherfuckers, dude.
Just bring your own red carpet and throw it out.
There's not enough suspension for that gravel on the
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
No, or go lowrider style and bring your own mirror. Just get a big get a big plexiglass mirror and lay that bitch down and park your bike on top.
Dude, are those goldfish under there? Like, yeah, dude, they're gonna die at the end of the show.
Then start hiding Easter eggs.
Definitely chromed. You can tell.
Nah. I don't know. I remember the very first Texas Hills show. I remember I had just got into the whole scene of dynos and FXRs and shit. And me and Mark at Texas Performance had become pretty close friends at the time. So me and my wife drove down, and then we went and met them at Albert's Ice House, like for the I don't know what the word is, like the they were all like Donnie. I think his name is Donnie. It's been a while. I haven't talked to him. Yeah. They were checking out the spot to create this event there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. So they all went to Proof and Cooper. They were looking at the upstairs and this and that, and we're there. I was actually taking pictures. Like, I got a whole folder full of photos of that first time. And I remember talking about to them, I was like, hey, what about a camp spot? Like, where's the place we can camp? And that's how, like, I don't know if you've ever listened to some of the podcasts, but when we had like Wes and those guys on, like the Dallas, Texas Finest, I guess is the podcast. We were talking about that first Texas Hills where we went to that state park around the corner from there and got kicked out by Ranger Rick because we stole firewood from a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was all part of like that first Texas Hills event. So even though like that story kind of outweighs the story at Texas Hills, the Texas Hills original story was fucking rad. I got a picture of Mark's old lady's titties from the event. She dumped them out for us all. It's pretty cool.
On the first one?
On the very, you were way.
I got the second.
I didn't meet you till 18, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was 17.
Yeah, you know what? Like, that's what sucks. Like, I got started in all the motorcycle shit so late. The last year of Giddy Up was the first year I went.
Yeah.
The last fucking Texas Hills was the first one I went to. And, like, all these awesome things super close to me were ending. I was like,
At least you caught them, though.
So you have a taste of what it was, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last Texas Hills was you didn't have that was right when that was our 19. That was on that trip. So your bike was down.
Yeah, me
and Jaden was down.
Yeah,
so
we came in on the Kia. We came the Kia, horn free, all that shit on that.
I remember throwing up that night.
Yeah,
I was so
you
fucked
fell
up.
asleep at like fucking 3 or something. No, it was like 7.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, shit.
Dude, it was dark. It was dark, dude. No, it wasn't. It was dark.
7.
Okay. No, I fell asleep in King Tony's his trailer, and then I got up and people were talking shit to me, and I was telling them about how my tent has seen more miles than their bikes have. Yeah.
And then she drove your bike to your campsite because you couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rallied though about 3 a.m. when some people showed up, and then we re-rated Jesse's cooler for Go-Gurts.
Probably.
You bring Go-Gurt
because he's a fucking child.
Does he have fruit roll-ups in there also?
Dude, if he did, they were gone, dude.
Fruit snacks.
Yeah.
No, but it was a good time, man. Like Albert's Ice House was a fucking party, dude. That was that tree, the vibe there.
Yeah.
Like it was cool. I loved it.
It was it was a lot smaller than I expected, other than the barn. But this new place, like I passed it a bunch because I used to work out near it.
Yeah.
And it's in a good spot. It's right by the river. And
all the photos they've been posting of it looks fucking epic.
Yeah.
It
But
really
I mean,
does.
it's like
that little dive.
It's like
honky
2
tonk,
minutes
whatever it
from
is.
the river.
Hell yeah.
Like
That's where the campsite is, I believe, right?
yeah, the campsite's right on the river. Like it's technically in like Bergheim or something, but
Where's it by? Like what main place is it by?
it's
due
kind
west of San Antonio, right?
It's like I'm trying to think. Like 46, like it's on 46 in between Bernie and like 281. Like
On
if that makes any
the
sense.
west side of 281?
West side of 281,
Okay.
north of 46.
All right.
So it's probably like if from between 46 and to Albert's Ice House.
Yeah.
It's like midway.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you're coming off 281?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, dude, it's fucking awesome down
Yeah,
there.
so it's in that same area, like the same like Twin Sisters area. There's that what is it called? I think it's like Hidden Falls, something like that. There's like a crazy waterfall spot.
Pull
like,
up their
right there, too.
their Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, or Edge Falls. That's what it's called. If you look up Edge Falls, it's right around the corner from the venue. It's fucking insane. Like,
Yeah, it looks dope, man.
yeah. There's a lot of cool shit around there.
That's on until next year. So you might even not even have this chopper anymore by that time.
I don't know. The way things go, I probably have it. I still have everything else.
Dude, yeah.
I'm terrible about selling things.
So you're trying you put up the twin cam for sale, right?
Yeah, I want to sell that.
I mean, like, do you know what your asking price is range for that?
After talking to a bunch of people, I kind of settled on around like 25.
Dude, that is
which
not bad.
Seemed
that is
cheap.
not bad.
Like, but I feel bad asking more because I was fortunate enough to where like companies helped me with things on that, like Lindahl, and then through an extension of Lindahl, like they got SNS to help out, and Barnett, and then like it just like people helped out, like, and so
it makes sense,
charging a premium for that shit that I kind of technically got for free or really cheap, like I don't know, I don't feel good about that.
That's a fucking solid bike for 25. I mean,
so it was just mainly like it was like my time and the work that went into it and what it is, and looking at other bikes that are semi similar in what they go for, and I thought it was pretty fair.
Yeah, it is, man. I think it's dope. Yeah, that'd be 25 grand. That's not bad. Everybody was asking me, like, when I customized that bike, right? They were like, "Hey man, why don't you just sell it when you finished it?" I'm like, "Well, I had 25 grand in the bike."
Yeah.
And I got hooked up on. Actually, no, I didn't get hooked up on a fucking thing on that bike because I didn't have enough followers on Instagram yet. I think I paid for just about everything on that bike. I did get some discounts on things, but that was mainly dealer costs that I had dealer accounts with people. Yeah. But after riding that bike for a year, putting 22,000 miles on it, it needed a new rebuild. Like the whole motor needed to be gone through. It was an Ultima motor, so completely need to be rebuilt. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to cost me $3 or $4 grand to go through this whole motor. So now that puts me at 30 grand in what I've spent out of my pocket on this bike, and I was over it. I was like, fuck it.
It's really hard to get exactly what you put into a bike out of it. Like, but
I didn't want to spend 4 or 5 more grand to make 15 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I could part it out and make 15 grand easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have an insane amount of hours in that thing. Yeah. I mean, I did that entire thing in 6 months. And then, like, everything else that wasn't helped with, like I paid for, like out of my own pocket. Like, and the shit's not cheap. Even building, like, your own frame and stuff, like, it's still not cheap.
Yeah. You're still not sponsored by ARP.
No, I fucking wish. That'd be amazing. I would bleed them dry probably, though. And so... yeah, it just but like I felt like it was a fair number, and then I could have asked for more and waited a while, or something like that. But it's also like that's asking more money than like anything else I have is worth. Like it blows my mind that I'm able to be like, this is this much, because it's like I'd never be able to afford that. Like, so what the fuck?
Dude, I can't even afford my own paint jobs.
Like I would need, I would need payments on it. Like and so.
But I mean there's so many people out there that want to have cool shit that are one off, that are handmade like your bike. Yeah. That it's just finding a way to get it in their eyes. Mm-hmm. And then usually what happens is, in my experience of talking with people like you who've been doing this for many years, is it is a bike like that you do finally find the buyer. They buy it, they have a great experience on it, then they commission you to build a bike for them later on. And then that's how like a lot of brands that we all know today started. The Yappy started that way. Yeah. I'm sure Jesse James started that way in some form. Oh yeah,
there's multiple repeat customers. Like we have bikes like on the board and on the list that are people that have numerous bikes from him already.
Exactly.
And like it's just it's getting in, finding the right.
Yeah, and I mean it might take some time to kind of to putting it out there to get the right people to find your stuff, but also that whole style of bike is kind of in a resurgence, if you will, too. Yeah, because I think the main customer, like I'm speaking out of my ass here, but I would imagine that a lot of the West Coast chopper customers are in a way different tax bracket in life and older than me and you in a sense. Because I don't see I don't see Mr. Beast lining up for a fucking Jesse James chopper right now, right?
They're very particular people. Like it's a very small group, and they're collectors or businessmen or something. You know, like that's like it's cool getting to build those bikes and be in that world of things, and then I get to go home and work on my Shovelhead in my garage. Yeah, like And it's cool because, like, although we're building bikes in both places, and I'm building bikes there and building bikes at home, I'm never going to be in that realm. So it's like our paths can't really cross. Like, I'm never going to be a competition to that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like a threat.
There's been so many great names that have come from the West Coast Choppers, you know, backlog of employees, right? Bill Dodge, was it Chopper Dave?
Yeah.
And so many other people that I couldn't, because I'm not that much of a nerd, I couldn't name their names right now. But there's so many people that's come through that they kind of, that was a great stepping stone into their own realm, right? Even though, like, I imagine, like, someone like Jesse's probably not, like, wanting to hire a bunch of people to kind of kickstart their careers.
He definitely has caught on to that now.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like when he's talking to you and questioning you, like, there's definitely that. You can kind of feel it. Like, that's kind of where it's going. Like, what do you
I don't want to invest in you if you're just going to leave me in 2 years.
Exactly. And you can't fucking blame him for that.
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
And I don't really have, I don't know, it's all still so new to me, but I don't have any intention of that type of thing. You know, I like having a day job that I like and that's steady, that I can rely on, and then go, like, give my all, but then also do my own thing outside of there, or it allows me to do my own thing, you know, and not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have to worry about paperwork or fucking paying bills and, like, shit like that. You know, contacting clients. Like, just let me do what I do. And
it's a good balance right there. Yeah, for sure.
I'm so sorry. I gotta piss so bad.
That's fine. Yeah.
Fucking first one to give up.
Finally, not me.
Fucking, I'm the best young Jim here. I finally brought up where that place was.
What, the Texas
I
Hills?
was trying to navigate how to use this motherfucker. Well, because they didn't post it until, like, the last post of where it says at the roundup in Bourne is where Texas Hills is
Bourne,
this year.
yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. It's just north of San Antonio.
Yeah, west of New Braunfels there by Canyon Lake. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
Hell yeah.
Get over here.
Yeah, dude, I went and saw Top Gun last night.
How was it?
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see. I was actually after we had talked about it earlier. I was like, I just started it today.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the
one.
best part is that there's no woman lead.
It's not a trans woman.
No, it's not.
female.
It's not like some kind of like historically male dominated movie that all of a sudden now you gotta, like, accept the fact that this woman's the elite fighter pilot now. It's
Right.
like, I don't know. I just felt like good to be a man to watch that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't feel guilty.
Kept it at its fucking what it's supposed to be.
Dude, it was good though. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch it. Like, I think Jaden and Jacob said they're gonna watch on the trip. I'm in for that one because I haven't.
That'd be a dope thing to catch that in the middle of nowhere. On
Just
the trip,
like
you know?
some random theater out there and wherever we're at.
What do you watch?
Top Gun.
The new Top Gun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, it was so good. I saw it last night.
Dude, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, like I was telling him, the greatest thing about it is it follows the main character still, but it was never like forcing any kind of social narratives down your throat. It was just about, like, it was almost like it was like Top Gun 2 if it was made in '89.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like there was no kind of like
virtue signaling.
Yeah, there was none of that shit. Which,
like, not necessarily. Trying
that's
to
what's
make
killing
it
Marvel movies right now is that shit, big time, dude. And I know a lot of people might not be on the fucking kick of the whole Marvel universe shit or anything like that, but I love that shit because I grew up with comic books, and then that's also something me and my son kind of enjoy together as well. And whenever you look at the new Avengers, and it's there's not one white male on there.
I think people are realizing that.
Not that it needs to be white. I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of you're obviously trying to make this thing.
Yeah, it definitely gets pushed to a spot of, like, pandering.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is, and I think they're starting to realize that it's not selling either.
Yeah,
like, even though they think that's what everyone wants right now, it's like, no, it's about 35 loud people on the internet's what they want, and they don't. They don't truly want it. They just want to be loud and ignorant about shit. So
yeah, it's
do shit because it's good. That's it. That's it. That's all there is to it.
It's like everybody's talking about the Doctor Strange movie. It's really the WandaVision movie because it was
pretty fucking close. Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty much about her the whole movie, and then
really
it wasn't so much a Doctor Strange 2. It was more of the movie adaptation of WandaVision TV show.
It was pretty wild though.
It was, yeah.
I'll still go see. I'll watch all that shit. I don't give a fuck.
I do too.
Sure,
I'm invested, dude. Yeah. Fucking been seeing it all, watching the shit. Like I said, I'm a fan of comic books, but it's also like that's something me and my son share together.
Yeah.
My son doesn't give a fuck about my world of this, but we can bond over these movies and this whole world of comics, and I'm just taking what I can get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Good. Yeah, it's cool. It's like the resurgence of that too, to allow you to like bond that way.
Yeah,
you had the books, and now he has the movies, and it's like, take it. Like I'll,
I don't think I could convince him to watch Top Gun. Like he's not necessarily. He's still too young to connect with a quick story of like getting involved in like a movie like this, instead of like he already knows enough about Spider-Man that he can go down that rabbit hole, right? But I don't know. Like I could see, especially after doing the Papa Juan podcast the other day, and other people I've talked to that are all Navy kind of folks, how important Top Gun was for people, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Or 30 years ago, that got into that was the reason that got them into the military, or how much that made people want to ride motorcycles, right? And so like you see that movie and you see these dudes that are kind of the elite of the elite hanging out in a bar and they're fucking having a good time, but they also have this adrenaline ass lifestyle. Like that's motorcycle shit, dude. 100%. And like we don't have a lot of movies like that Top Gun shit. So I actually think this Top Gun movie will help usher a little bit more people into motorcycle culture, in my opinion. I mean, there's a bike. I mean, he still rides a bike. It's just a newer. It's like a H2, whatever the new Kawasaki that's fucking retarded fast.
One or whatever. Those are sick though. I ain't gonna lie. As far as
it's dope.
I think it's something cool.
But I mean, clearly they're in California. They don't have a helmet on, so I don't think they get it.
What is it? Well, like Keanu promoted the Arch motorcycles, right? In his recent movies, maybe.
Well, yeah, because that's
it was in
his
the
company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In that Matrix movie.
His sick ass V twins with forward controls for some reason. It's like crotch rocket V twins.
Yeah, they always get so close, and then they just fuck it up like right at the last minute. Yep. Dang that dollar bill.
It is what it is.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, culture, like movie culture, I think plays a lot more part into the progression of the motorcycle industry than I think people will allow themselves to agree to. Think about how many people became builders after seeing, Motorcycle Mania or Monster Garage or all these different things where people that did everyday tradesman type jobs were glorified as, like celebrities in a sense. Like, oh shit, I do that. Like, what if there's a show all of a sudden, like, on TNT about some fucking AC company, and they were just going through, and they just glorified it in some kind of way? Like, you don't think there's gonna be the Sons of Anarchy of fucking AC
Cable
shit?
Guy, dude.
The Cable
Guy was a movie.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Just look at like TLC and all the home makeover shit. Like all of Waco has been remade.
Yeah, Waco's been taken over by HGTV shit, basically.
Yeah,
and
by the
surf
games.
park.
It's responsible for all that. So
yeah,
there's an old motorcycle movie, or like it's like a motorcycle club movie or something like that. It's called Masters of Mayhem. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know, but it sounds like some He-Man shit.
Like
I like it.
No, it's a comedy. It's fucking great. But it's like the first motorcycle movie I saw. I remember just seeing it come on cable, and I've looked up numerous times since then. But it's like they're all, the gist of it is like they're trying to get their dead club member to like his funeral or bury him somewhere where he wanted to be or something like that. But just all kinds of shit happens, running from the cops, like all this stuff. But it's kind of like, it's like Motorcycle Club, but funny. Like, I don't know. You should look it up. It's from like
Motorcycle, what is it called?
Masters of Mayhem.
Masters of Mayhem.
Sounds like an ad to the motorcycle movie companion.
Dude, I think it's from like 87.
That's not a bad one.
It's old.
We've been wanting to do like a motorcycle movie companion type thing. So you know how Joe Rogan does the Fight Companion, where he brings people and they watch it and they talk about it?
That'd be funny. Just get drunk and watch a motorcycle movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. This guy right here.
This one would be ridiculous for that.
When was it made? Do you know?
Dude, I think it's like 87 or something like that.
So in the good
older.
era of motorcycle movies. or the better.
It's not so old that it's like tough to watch. Not tough to watch, but like
no,
all the motorcycle,
but like just like that 80s, that right amount of 80s action, kind of like what's that? God damn it! I'm already thinking of the other one too with damn it, the blonde swole motherfucker.
Oh, Brian Bosworth, Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, baby. That movie's sick.
No, I feel like this one's probably like more like a Cannonball Run-ish or something, but like with like a motorcycle club.
Okay.
Like it's like that.
Dude, Wild Hogs wasn't a bad movie.
Shit.
It really wasn't a bad movie if you think about it. And R.I.P. Ray Liotta, he is the Del Fuegos, bro. I never saw that movie. I watched that movie on that bike trip behind you on that picture. We watched that in an Airbnb in San Francisco on my iPad while Big Will Cody bitched about it because he wanted to go to the bar, and we all were like worn out. We just wanted to watch Del Fuegos and drink beer. And
y'all were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the camp out wrap up or something? It got brought up.
It possibly was.
I remember listening to one. It was in real recent. I remember hearing about this too.
That was exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, I don't know. Like anytime, I don't know. I feel like I think culture is missing the point of what motorcycles are in a sense. Like I don't think they understand how therapeutic they can be. In the right, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Masters of Mayhem with the Eagle, hell yeah.
I have a feeling it's almost definitely on YouTube in full version too.
Yeah. I think this is one of the first.
So it's a comedy. So it like not like a goofy comedy, but like there's funny shit in it.
Yeah,
or?
just funny shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yep, full movie on YouTube.
And the main guy, I can't remember his name, but I've definitely seen him in a bunch of stuff. Like he's like the president of the club or whatever. But he, you'd probably definitely recognize him. 90, okay. But he's definitely. I have a feeling he probably does like a lot of horror movies and shit like that.
Where's the IMBD?
It's coming.
It's got that delay.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's
Masters of Menace, not Mayhem. Okay,
Menace.
That was close.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Name somebody in there that's like popular now.
Oh fuck!
Dude, I'm looking right now.
It's nobody.
It's a rough one.
Which honestly probably makes it better.
It's probably all B movie actors, at best.
Yeah.
Was Luke Perry in it?
Whoa. Jim Belushi.
There you go.
Oh shit! See, it's a winner then.
Okay.
Gypsy. He
all
plays
you need.
Gypsy in it.
Oh hell yeah, that's a good ass name.
Yeah.
So have you found like a group of dudes that like are like your biker companions down there in Austin yet, or are you still like a lone wolf?
I feel I'm definitely like alone most of the time. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of odd. Like definitely like find friends and shit like that, but all my real close friends that like I talk to quite a bit all live in different places. Like one's in the military, like active in Killeen. Like one's in just retired from the military, is in Kansas. One's in Oklahoma. Like everyone's spread out. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. They were all the ones I was really close with, and they all moved, and it kind of like fucked it up. And it's just like, not like I'm not trying to take on new friends, but also, I don't know. I have like, I'm just kind of odd. Like I'm not super social.
Yeah.
And when I'm working on shit, like working on a bike, like I just want to do that. Like I'll hang out, but if you're fucking with me and distracting me from doing something, or like I'd rather just work alone, you know? Like,
yeah. I don't really get that. Like I don't get that much here, but I remember growing up, it was always like everybody wanted to hang out at the bike shop.
Yeah.
Right. And so I get that you probably once you get off work, you have a very finite amount of time of what you can put into your bike, and you know, while you do enjoy a beer, like maybe you don't want the whole night to be about drinking beers and talking about what's on Instagram because you're trying to build a bike.
Right. I want to drink a beer as I'm welding.
Yeah.
Like it's like my favorite thing to like go home. Like when I was welding my exhaust, I would like go home, set up on my welding table, like get a beer, get a couple beers, and just drink and take weld my exhaust. And I was like, this is fucking great.
I feel like that's probably a good way to like.
It relaxes me too.
Yeah. It to me, I can't paint on beer, but I can draw on beer. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like when I'm trying to create something, like for me, a couple of beers or a couple like whiskey, soda water type situations, it it quiets all the shit in my head, so I can kind of like focus a little bit more. I'm not thinking about so much shit,
and it just loosens you up. Like I've noticed, like TIG welding, like I'm a little naturally shaky for whatever reason. Like, but like 1 to 2 beers is like perfect. Like it just settles me enough, and then I'm like, all right, I'm fucking on it. But it's just, I don't know, it's nice, it's fun.
Have you started working on the exhaust for this bike yet?
Oh yeah, it's done.
Did you do the Shogun pipes again? The full?
No, I just used like mandrel bends, like nice, like brushed stainless, and just welded everything like super clean. Like no, don't like it's I'm not even sanding the welds, no nothing, not being polished, just leaving them.
Is it stainless?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last pipe was dope as hell.
Yeah, it was a lot of fucking work though.
Yeah.
That was
you were talking about how it was like, what was it, 6 inches around each pipe? And there's
like 37 or something. I just did an exhaust on a bike at West Coast. That was all Shogun cuts also. It took me like 2 full days to weld. It was so fucking much. And then like you're just cross-eyed at the end of the day from staring at this tiny little bead, like, focusing because you know it's going to be left, not sanded, and like, and especially on those bikes. Like,
do you ever come back and like, if you have a bad weld, do you ever come back and like kind of fuse it, like make it?
Every now and then, if I really fuck up, like it's you either just kind of like you can grind it out and like refill it, or like, and it's not the best way, but you can kind of like dry wash it, which is just like you pulse over a spot, but it's usually a pretty bad bobble. But like, luckily I've got to a point where I don't have to do that really. Like it's very rare. So and usually like it's like at a start and a stop or something. You know, just something happens or you lose the sight of it as you're coming around the tube, and like you stop a hair short and you're like, oh fuck me. And so if you just put like one tack, it looks weird, so you start a little back and go. Like it's just, I don't know.
That was one of the, like, so Carlos, he used to work at West Coast Choppers. He's the one that was teaching me how to TIG weld. And I invested in a whole welder, had a whole table downstairs, and I just went to the Metal Mart, or to the place that he buys. I just bought like tubes. And I would just pie cut these tubes and just weld these, just weld, just no point. I never created a purge setup. I bought all the shit, but I never created an extra bottle to make a purge for the stuff. But I wanted to be able to get to that point to weld up my own exhaust system for my own bikes. And then I wrecked my Acura.
Oh, that's right.
And I had to sell all the welders set up to kind of pay for the, this is 2018, the worst year of my life. I met all my friends that year, first year of the camp out. I started the podcast that year, but essentially the worst year I've ever had. I got audited. I had 2 wrecks. I've never had a wreck in my life on a vehicle. I had 2 in the same year. One was on the way home from buying a new vehicle.
Oh, fuck.
That I didn't have insurance on by the time I got home, so I was fucked. I mean, I had liability on the thing for just to get home, but rough year for old Jace over here. So
that sucks. That'll happen though.
And I had started because he built a pipe for my first bagger, and but he was teaching me how to weld. But at the time when he actually did that pipe, so he would. Through building that pipe, he taught me how to weld, right? So I was prepping all the pie cuts, prepping all the metal. He showed me how to, take care of the tungsten in the situation. And then he helped me find the right welder, and then I set it up at home, and I was just practicing. Like every day I would at least do 2 beads around some stainless.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And some days I was pissed because it would burn through, or just, it was horrible, right?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I just ended up selling it. I haven't really reached out trying to buy another one yet.
That stuff, stainless is such a finicky bitch too. Like, it can be the exact same piece of tube, and it just, stainless is definitely easier. I think I like doing it more because it doesn't sweat and create like all the mill scale and shit like steel does.
Yeah.
But if you purge it, it helps a lot. Like, it almost like suspends the bead. Like, because the inner pressure is equal, so the bead, it won't just blow out, like blow through. It kind of like drops and then it settles and like bounces back up.
Okay. No idea what that means, but
I don't know.
But
it works. It looks good. Basically, the inside of the weld looks just like the outside.
Yeah, when you purge it, right? Yeah. So that was a problem. I couldn't get that system to see it. So you look on the inside and it just looks rough.
Yeah,
you know
it looks
what I mean?
gray. Like it's called sugaring. Like it just,
is that what it is? Yeah. But man, like I felt like that would be, because I had all these ideas for exhaust systems, and when you're pie cutting or you're using like this concept of using like cone engineering, buying some basic kits, you can just get so creative. And the exhaust system, in my opinion, can really set off the way a bike, the whole vibe.
Yeah, 100%.
Of a bike,
like I see production exhausts all the time. Like they'll only want to use like a 3-inch radius bend, right? But the pipes are trying to stay parallel to each other, and those are never going to be parallel.
Yeah.
Like you need a 3 on the inside and like a 6 on the outside for the equal.
Yeah.
And it makes all the fucking difference in the world. Like HPI's pipes, they use like the matching radiuses, so it's all nice and clean.
Yeah.
But then, I've seen other ones that just look shitty. Like
it feels like all the people that are like on that cusp of like doing the hand built pipes, they get reached out. Like it's crazy that you can sell a $2,000 hand built pipe and be overwhelmed with customers. Like people are like, I don't give a fuck. Like I want your pipe. And there's an 8-month backlog, right? That's kind of been that's opened the door for a lot of people. And I feel like a lot of exhaust companies, they have to understand that like you guys are leaving exhaust on the table because you're not building exhaust that's appealing to this market.
Yeah.
And all these other companies are. Right now we know those names like Bassani and D&D and Reinhardt, which who the fuck are them now, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But in 10 years from now, like your HPIs or your SPB
SPD,
Fab,
Speed Fab, or whatever.
those companies are going to be as mainstream as those guys. And I think to get to that point, they're going to have to get to the point of mass production, which is hard. But
I mean, like you just see like Royal T made one of the best ones and basically crumbled under their own success.
exactly.
Like, so.
I'm still dealing with all that shit.
Are you?
I was a big proponent of selling his exhaust systems to a lot of people, and one thing about putting your name behind somebody, and like when people ask you, hey, what's a good exhaust to buy your bike, and you recommend something, and then that brand itself just completely drops the ball, it all falls on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like I'm the asshole that told this guy about this, and now this dude's doing chargeback credit cards and shit like that, which I gave him an opportunity to come on the podcast and talk about it and get in front of it and let the world know, and he just ghosted me. So fuck it.
It's unfortunate to see, especially from like someone that was like that talented.
It's
clearly,
one of the sickest exhaust systems ever.
Yeah,
hands down, and sounded good as fuck.
Dude, even the very first one, I think it's the very first one, is on one of Jesse's FXRs at the shop.
Yeah,
like I see all the time, like an original FXR he bought from the dealer when it was brand new. And that pipe's on there, and it's still like it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's just wild. It's just like, but it really was just too successful, and just like it's like just self detonate.
I mean, I don't mean to like paint in such a bad light, but I don't know. I mean, I guess in hindsight, or just thinking about it like from the perspective, let's say I have 100. First off, I don't know if I would ever allow myself to get to 100 orders of a pipe. That's
true too.
Right?
Yeah.
I would cut off like, hey, look, we're not taking orders right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe when I got to 25 orders. And if I got it down to a system where I knew that every day I can walk out of my bedroom, go to the shop, and I can put out 2 pipes with the quality that I want to put out. So I would do the math. Okay, I'm going to do 2 pipes Monday through Friday. That's 10 pipes a week. In 6 weeks, I'll be caught up.
Yeah.
And when I get to 2 weeks before I'm caught up, I'll take in X amount more to keep that flow going, right? And then if I know I'm going to go on a road, if I have a born free build, I'm going to be ahead of that to cup, right? Okay. But the problem is I feel like people get to a point where they don't want to work. Like building and running a business becomes, like you said, it becomes a little bit more demanding. You're dealing with customer service, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that. You're trying not to be an asshole, but you really got to lean into the fact that, like, look, I am a welder, I'm a fabricator, I build pipes. I'm not here to be your fucking friend on social media, right? This is the answer that I answer emails at 10 o'clock at night. Every day I answer emails, I answer Instagram messages, and after this, I'm fucking done until the next 10 o'clock. You just got to be more strong. You got to be more militant with the way you do things, and you can have a really great life that way.
Yeah, like if you do it, you just do structure. Like if you're gonna make production pipes and shit like that, like do it production, keep it that way, and it'll work out. Like it sucks, but that's kind of what you sign up for. Like just do it. But yeah, sometimes people like. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I just like when I was doing all the racks and shit like that, I was just like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's
you hit a day and you're just like, this is boring, or like it turns into like you're just doing production shit, and that's not what you want to do. But it's kind of what's giving you the freedom to do what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough.
If you play it right, I mean, you could build a big brand off of it. I mean, you have to do it yourself to get to a point to get a nest egg, and then once you get a nest egg, then you can hire somebody on, like a legit person that needs a legit paycheck, and then you have someone that is producing 2 pipes a day. So even if you don't do it anymore, this person alone could run your whole business for you. Yeah. And allow you to do all the other customer service shit you need to do. And then if he does well and your orders are still going good and you have a great reputation online, you hire a second dude. Yep. And now you're making fucking 20 pipes a week. Right? It's simple math to make it work.
And when so many of them are for the same model, your race set up to cut one thing, cut one bend, cut 20 of the parts.
Well, the way it was working with them is all the bins were pre-cut and sent in. So there was a bin of this bin. There was a bin like BIN of all this degree bends for this pipe.
Yeah, like a 60-degree bend, a 30, 60,
elbow. They're all pre-cut. All you do is put them together. It's welding. It's still welding a lot.
But that's still, you could easily do like 2 or 3 a day probably.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But the problem about doing this is, I think the biggest problem that like most people find in business is that problem of making money and becoming that point where, oh fuck, I got a couple grand in the bank. I don't want to work this weekend. I don't need to work this weekend. Like that's when you think about all the ways that the business go out, it could be old school shit, like dudes had problems, alcohol, pills, drugs, old lady problems, shit like that makes people go out of business. Or like the other part is like some of us only work out of like necessity or procrastination, or we're only motivated by the fact that we need to pay our rent on Friday.
Right.
So if on Monday, if I have $4 grand in the bank and none of the bills are paid, like I don't have the same motivation as I will if it's Monday and rent's due Friday and I have $0.
Yeah, like that willingness to hustle, like to get out there and just bust ass and make money from somewhere.
Not everybody's built that way, so
no. And some people some people make a company up like that and they're able to keep it, and like that drives them every day. And it's wild because you see some people that have that crazy addiction and that drives them to bust ass and get shit done too. And they find that weird balance. And like, that's wild.
I mean, I honestly wish that like, and not as a downplay to welding or fabrication, but if the problem is like I have a style of paint, so I can't pass that on to somebody else to do.
Yeah.
Right? Someone would have to work here for years, and instead of developing their own style as an artist, they'd have to develop my style. And then I would have to take these helmets and give it to them and hope that they put the kind of effort into them that I plan to do. It's just, I built a business that I can never scale up with paint.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Like you have a real specific style.
Yeah.
Like it'd be really hard to copy.
Good flames. It's not that hard. I got a peanut.
Okay flames.
Yeah. Basic ass flames. Oh shit. So what are you coming up into town for?
What?
What are you coming up into Dallas for?
This.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was coming to town just for this.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were passing through, picking up stuff or what the situation was.
I got lucky just specifically for this. He asked me a few weeks ago.
Yeah, because I remember he was saying just to have me or Jaden run cameras, but I was going up to get your chrome or whatnot. The
first weekend he asked me about it was my 40th birthday was like on a Thursday.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're that
old as shit.
Whatever.
And then, him and I are like the same year and shit too. We talked about that before. And then, so like that happened. I had to postpone the birthday dinner my wife had planned for me because I was trying to finish my frame to drive to Oklahoma that Saturday.
You're right.
To drop off. So I was like, all right, this weekend's out. And then the weekend after that was when it was coming back. And I didn't want to be anywhere else but like in town. to receive it. So like I stayed there and then now. So yeah, it's just been kind of like
word. That's awesome, man.
Put off. It's been fucking hectic as shit though.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had taken some of my stuff up there for chrome, and he's supposed to do my wheels and never. Well, he was supposed to polish them. He wasn't going to chrome them, but that was one that got hung up on. He didn't want all my small parts. Those ended up getting done. They look good. They turned out pretty good, but yeah, I had to take the wheels over Paletos. So yeah, but
that's bummer. Yeah, I even before this, like I had always like polished all my own shit. Yeah. Like I polish all the stainless, all the aluminum parts and shit myself. Like I've never like subbed that out. So because again, like talking about like building bikes, that's like a part of building the bike to me.
Right.
Like do everything you can yourself and like find someone better to do the rest type of thing.
Right.
And so I've just always polished my own shit. Like and I'm real fucking particular about things. Like and like the way I weld things together or like assemble them. I want the things to be blended out in a certain way, like, and have, like, the lines stay nice and smooth, you know? Yeah. Like, everything, like, to where you can rotate this part and it's the same. You don't see, like, a fucking ripple or a divot or something. Yeah. So I just rather do it myself.
I think that's kind of what you were talking about earlier as far as doing production stuff and doing your own stuff. You just... it's just almost impossible for the amount of time you want to put into a production part as it is to put in your own. Like, yeah, and that's why a lot of those people fail. Whether it's welding, chrome, whatever, it's like they do a good job and they get a little overwhelmed by the jobs they intake, and then it's just like, man, you can't be a business person and a fucking craftsman at the same time. Sometimes, you know, especially if it's something real specific. So like, I learned that just from working where I work. It's a big manufacturing plant, you know. And so the work we do, these motherfuckers that are dealing with finances and getting jobs brought out, and then the machinists that are doing the different pie cuts for your exhaust or whatever is a completely different area than the people over here that are assembling and welding them together or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you post some pictures a long time ago in our chat about some huge pie cut things going on? Or that might have been Carlos because he works at a helicopter company too.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you talking about for like their exhaust?
Yeah, because they was making an exhaust system for a helicopter, and it was like a fucking huge pie cut stainless. Oh shit! They had posted, and it was like
just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's weird. So, I mean, it's dope.
Just seeing stuff at like a grand scheme of like.
I mean, so I don't mean to like be an asshole about it, but like I have a love for the motorcycle, a pure love, and a bit of ownership of this thing, right? Which might be a little bit arrogant or whatnot, but like I truly want to see this motorcycle culture thrive, especially under the years in which I might be of any kind of influence, right?
You just care about it, and you're
I care about it.
Yeah.
And so like it's hard to be successful, and it's hard to be good in this thing. And I don't blame anybody for taking the leap out of it to go work or to go apply their skills somewhere else to make money, to make a living and get by. But finding out how to stay in it and stay relevant, make a living, take care of your family, those are the people that I think deserve the most praise in building bikes, working in this industry, because you're sticking you're in the fire with the rest of us. Like this isn't a rich industry of like, oh yeah, man, I'm fucking design an app real quick and then I'm gonna sell it for $1 billion. Like it's not that.
You gotta work for it. Like everyone that's made it has worked their ass off to get there. You know, even if they may be in a spot where they're living a little like plush now, but like they still busted ass to get there. And yeah, like you definitely have to earn it.
I mean, you build a bike in 6 months, every waking hour that you can think of putting into this build, and some dude in Silicon Valley made an app,
dude,
in 6 months. And it's a completely different world. But and I would say they're probably passionate about what they do too. But same way that you're passionate about motorcycles and how they've shaped your life. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all subjective because like they're busting ass too, but like they may be doing it from behind a keyboard with code and all this other shit to like figure this stuff out.
Yeah,
I'm just doing it in more of a physical manner. Yeah, like. And it's easy to be like, oh, you're just sitting behind a fucking keyboard at the same time, but it's like
complicated,
dude. I sure as fuck couldn't do that. Like I also wouldn't want to do that. Like I'm way too, I don't know if it's ADD or just autistic.
I want to throw.
It wants to be.
I want to throw this in there to help myself out in some bad situations, but. So I've had great podcasts and bad podcasts. Mm-hmm. I've had some great guests on here who have also been on other podcasts that they didn't do well on. And so when I get those people like, oh man, that guy fucking, you should do your own podcast. You're great. I'm like, is he?
Yeah.
Or is it because he's on this fucking podcast, right? Like,
no,
it's one of those weird things. It's like, I'm not necessarily I'm not the best at anything, right? But like, it's about what you get when you come to this space, mm-hmm. right? Whether it's the atmosphere or the type of questions that are asked or how someone is directed to bring out the story in them is what makes the podcast great. Yeah, it's your story, but you could be on 40 different interviews and never have the same fucking like in-depth conversation, never question yourself, never question your ideas in the same way.
I mean, you can also not answer the question the same way.
Yeah.
It can all be truthful and it can all be the right answer or the answer, but like maybe just the way it's worded, it brought out a different way.
You might feel rushed too in other places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like and it's all the same shit, you know? Yeah, I don't know. You're just a good ringleader.
Thank you. I just wanted to get my
this guy sucks.
He was looking for it. I saw it. I just gave it to him.
Sometimes you got to go fishing, dude.
Well, I mean, if you think about like someone like Elon who was a coder, right? Made PayPal.
Yeah.
And then sold it, could have stopped at that. Made Tesla, could have kept that, sold it, didn't stop at that, but it just has a drive for just robotics in general.
Innovation,
and whatever it comes down to. Like, I mean, you see it just roll on down the line instead of just sitting back and fat and happy and not solving any more problems, just kind of moving on. I mean, it's the same in any industry.
That keeps people sane, though. I think creative people, they need that constant challenge. They need stress, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
Stress. Right. I feel like stress has gotten a bad rap because stress is unwanted in so many parts of your life, but stress also is what keeps you out of the gray. You know, it keeps your head out of like the dark places.
It pushes you. Like stress can be the stress of not having a place to live can make you bust your ass and work harder. So you make that money to have a place to live. Mm-hmm. The stress of a deadline to finish this bike like makes you finish that bike. Like I've always liked it. Like I always like deadlines and like when someone was like, hey, we have this big fucked up thing you have to build, but it's 2 weeks from now. And like, all right, cool. Like it's, you know. Like
it gives you like a short-term purpose to solve this problem.
Yeah.
That's essentially for somebody else or for the sake of your livelihood. Mm-hmm. 100%, man.
It's also all this shit's temporary. Like, it's going to suck for a little bit, but it's temporary.
Yeah.
You'll get it done and it'll be over with and move on to something else. You know?
I think that's one thing a lot of people don't think about is how temporary everything is. Like, every bad thing in your life passes.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you continue to make stupid decisions.
It's like if you have a problem or you're stuck at something on a bike or anything, right? Like you'll be bitching about it for like half an hour, but if you just stuck with it and tried to figure it out for that half hour, you'd already be like halfway through finishing it.
I always tell my wife this, you know, like a couple of weeks, like even before the camp out, when I was trying to get paint jobs done, also working on my personal bike after hours, trying to get it done for the camp out. And we would go to dinner and she'd be like, it's like, why, you know, like, how do you feel? Like, how's everything going? It's like, I just can't wait till the camp out.
Yeah.
Not because it's the camp out, we're at the camp out, we're partying, because I know that all this shit will be done.
Yeah.
Like that goal, that time is a finish line for all these projects. Just like next Wednesday when I leave, there's a handful of projects downstairs that will be done and out of my life. Mm-hmm. The stress is gone. I'm not dealing with it anymore. It's not a problem. So there's that aspect of like, I'm going to get it done. And then when I get it done, it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people, like I imagine you think like this build, it's all time consuming. It's all creative. It's a lot of stress and a lot of, just complications trying to build a bike like this, right? But there's a deadline. It's over after this. Like you'll probably have this time of chilling and hanging out and like reaping the benefits, if you will. And then unless something else comes along, or another challenge.
No matter what that day is coming, and it's just is what it is. So just do what the fuck you gotta do and get there. Like with People's Champ last year, I knew that day was always coming. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, it was going to be over one way or another. One way I was just going to be more sad than the other, and that's all it fucking was. And I don't know. It's some people look at it a little differently, but that's just, it works out for me that way. Like it's That's nice.
Your podcast seems like you're just talking to a homie. Yeah. So,
just doing an interview. So, do you like believe in angels and shit? Or
well, I'm not good at interviewing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good. Like, I have questions. Like, I look at what you're doing. I've been following this whole build. I've been following your whole progress ever since, like, we met last year. Mm-hmm. And I keep in mind. And then whenever, in my mind, when I get to this point where I've accumulated so much knowledge from watching what you're doing, then I'm like, okay, it's time. We got to talk about this. Or there's something coming up, like you're getting to that point of Born Free. Like, yeah, we could have talked in February or March or April or something like that, but the lead up, like this is an exciting time for you, and it's an exciting time for the people that are watching what you're doing. Yeah. And, I'm going to Born Free. You're going to be at Born Free. It's a good time to do this podcast. And like anybody that's going to be there, which our biggest listenership is LA. Yeah. So people will be there to see you and maybe me. I'm not as popular, but
Nah, they'll see you. No, it's fucking awesome. I really appreciate it. Like it's still all weird, even being like
for sure
out on camera. Like I did that thing with Ben.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah,
and it's so odd, Like I'm not used to any of that sort of attention because, like I said, I'm pretty antisocial. Like, not like trying to be because like it's just I don't know. I'm just kind of like odd. Like
the one you did with Get Bent Moto, Bent. What the fuck his name is? I love that dude, but god damn it,
I just say Get Bent. It's easier. Yeah.
I messaged. I think it was that one I messaged him on. It's like that was awesome because I know he's trying to find a way to monetize these things, and these things are very beneficial for like someone on my end that's consuming the content, listening to it, watching it, finding out about your builds. It's a different way than this podcast is, right? Mm-hmm. So you talked about the last build, you talked about the new build. But I also like the end of the video when y'all were just shooting the shit back and forth. Yeah. Like, I'm like, dude, that's the part. That's what I do. That's what you need to do.
That's what I liked. And like, it helps me be comfortable when like he was just as awkward as I was too. Yeah, yeah. Like even going into it, like filming an intro, he's all, strong chance I'm going to fuck this up. Just, try not to like fuck with me or laugh about it. I was like, all right, I'm in. But it was just nice. Like you realize like everyone's just trying their best and like trying to keep it together. And
the thing is that like, in 10 years, if Ben sticks with it, what he's got going on, what we got going on, we're all going to be doing bigger things. We're all going to be doing bigger shit, right? And we're all going to remember the times when we were nobodies hanging out in garages or fucking Studio Ones and shit like that.
I feel like that's the goal, though. Yeah. Like, that's the goal. Be like, look back and be like, you remember when we were in this fucking shitty garage? Yeah. Or
what if me and you're at Moon Eyes one year because I'm fucking famous as shit and you're just building bikes and shit?
Yeah. Like, dude,
I want to go to Moon Eyes.
I mean, like, up until that, like,
we're drinking sake and shit. We're like, dude, remember we did the podcast originally?
Like that Get Bent Moto video. Like, what I liked about it, like, other than like, I liked just how loose, like, kind of the format. Yeah. Like, I liked that it was a little bit shorter, so like everyone that's fucking ADD and bad about paying attention, like, you can get through it. But like, you really got to see that I'm doing all that shit on that bike in a single car garage too. Yeah. Like, that bike, when it's turned sideways, the same width as the garage. So you get an idea of, like, oh, this is coming out of here. Like, I'm not in some giant shop. That bike has never touched tire in West Coast choppers. Like, only small individual parts, Like, I'm doing it from there. And you can accomplish this shit out of this small space. Yeah. Like, and, I don't know. I like that part of it. It was cool.
Yeah, that's dope, man. It's it's a good perspective because I think that's what's going to inspire the most. I mean, like I said, we've already talked about the people we grew up watching on TV, but at the same time, like, nowadays content is viewed through podcasts and YouTube videos, like what Ben's doing, what we're doing, and many other people are doing. So it's like that's how people are going to find and be inspired to try this shit. You know what I mean? You're in a one-car garage. When we started this podcast, it was technically in my garage at my house. You know what I mean? And so it's just time. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing that social media does not display well is time. They don't. It's just not portrayed on social media the way it really is, because when you follow somebody, like someone followed you from the last podcast, and then all of a sudden now maybe their algorithm doesn't put your content in their face. and they finally see you get, oh shit, that dude built a lot of shit real quick. It's like, it's real quick to them.
Yeah.
Right. But they don't see the year that it's been. They definitely don't see the years before. Like, it's the weirdest thing when people that don't know my past or my world, they just assume that I just came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. We all come out of nowhere, right? To somebody, and they start following you that day. You're like, hey, man, like,
yeah.
So when did you start doing this?
Well, it's like you're coming up and up and up, but you're not visible yet. It's like the sun rising over a hill, like, and all of a sudden you see that sun.
Yeah, yeah.
And then people see you, and you're like, oh, fuck. And then, it just, shit takes off.
There's just wild. There's not a perspective to some of the professionals in this industry, because when social media really came out, for at least my generation, I'm almost 40.
I just turned 40. Like, we're pretty much the same age.
So, MySpace, we weren't promoting this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, when you look at when you started welding and you started down this path, what social media was, like, it's nowhere near what it is now. Like, some kid that wants to start painting or start welding now, you can get good quick because there's so much information out there, but there's still this time factor. Like, you can solve some of the issues quicker because there's information to solve those issues.
Yeah, the learning curve.
But the time and the muscle memory it takes to pull beads or push beads, whichever you're doing, or airbrush or custom paint, develop a style, develop enough to, like, be able to do all the aspects of what it takes to paint a bike or paint anything. That's time, man. Like, people are like, hey, man, how long you been painting? Since you were in elementary school. That's how long I've been painting. And you're 30.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like, it's pretty crazy. Like, what's funny is, like, as long as I've been building bikes is in the social media age. Like, it's 4 years now or something total. Like, it's so new compared to everybody else that's been in this shit. But it's, I don't know, like, if you let social media work for you and be a tool, like, or like Instagram and all that shit, you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like your learning curve can be really fast. Like, I feel mine has. Like, and being, like, self-taught with, like, metal shit. Like, if I had a problem, I would go and watch a YouTube video about a lathe thing, like how to thread on a lathe or all this dumb shit, but you can find it and you can learn.
Look what it did to the tattoo culture.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about tattoo culture before YouTube, it was a seedy market to get into. Like, I want to get a tattoo. Like, how do you even know who the best tattoo is? You got to buy a magazine.
Yeah. And
then you got to sift through a magazine and wait for a fucking convention, right? And then tattoo culture, social media, YouTube comes around. People start, Nico Hirata, where the fuck his name was.
That guy's insane.
Yeah, he started doing videos. Like, he got ostracized for that shit because tattoo culture was all about, like...
It was always, like, secretive. They don't want you knowing all the tricks.
They don't want you to know the tricks. Yeah. You got to go fucking apprentice to learn
Then
that
all of a sudden
shit.
there's a TV show.
The TV shows, I think, is what made him feel comfortable about putting out the information to do that realism. And when he finally did the realism, and it made it, it made it to YouTube, everybody that wanted a tattoo any artist that understands anything about lighting and fucking, structure of, like, drawing or whatever, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I can do that. And next thing you know, you get this, like, compounding interest of quality tattoo artists that have come from that.
Yep.
So where the tattoo industry goes, like, back in the 40s or whenever they were doing that Sailor Jerry shit, to all the seedy shit in the fucking 80s and 90s, and then, or the Spalding catalog shit in the 90s, and then you get to the mid 2000s, and all of a sudden it's like they learned how to send an email, and then all of a sudden shit blows up. You know what I mean?
I feel like sometimes there's there's a lock that just has to get undone. Or, like, a lot of people have a mental block, and then once they see it, like, see a photo or video of it online, all of a sudden, like, oh, fuck, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
And then they're able to get to that point a lot faster. Like, that shit that goes back to the time thing, though, too. Like, time's weird. Like, you don't have to be in this motorcycle thing forever anymore to be good at it, like, you had to, like, dedicate, like, your whole fucking life to it. Like, you can come in, learning curve, like, as long as you respect it and shit like that. Like, and I try to do that because I know I'm new. I don't try to act like I'm not new at all. Like, I know all this shit. Like, I'm quick to admit I don't know shit about old bikes. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm looking at a lot of times. I know I'm good at what I'm good at, and other than that, like that's
that
fine.
honesty is more inviting though. Like, I mean, show me a guy that loves his motorcycle that wouldn't love to educate you on it.
Yeah.
So when you come in there, it's like, look, I don't know shit about this. What's this? Oh, I'm glad you asked, sir.
Dude, I love asking questions.
Open the door.
Like, yeah, I love asking questions. That's been an awesome thing about being at West Coast is like all the shit I get to ask Jesse about old bikes. And like seeing even some of the old bikes we have around the shop that like we'll rehab or fix back up and get back running again. Like, dude, just all the stories and
He should do a podcast one day.
he fucking should. I know.
Dude, I don't know.
Did he ever answer you back?
Fuck no, he didn't. No, he's not gonna answer me. I honestly don't think. I don't like. I've said it many times. I don't know if I would want it to happen.
He's in a different world though too. I feel like it might be
For him.
he's still very much in like the bike world, but I feel like where he's moved on, like he's done a couple podcasts like I've heard, and they're I think like they're more like gun or like car related. Like it's
Shit's
moved
gay.
on a little different. And like I don't know if it's about like
So I'm
into the motorcycle
I want to
world
contradict myself in two statements. For one, if I ever got to his level, I have no idea how I would, but if for some fucking fluke of a reason, this podcast or whatever got to the level of his notoriety in the industry, in some kind of weird way, him co-signing on anything puts it on the map. You know what I mean? It's like Rogan, right? Like
100%.
Rogan thinks you're a great comedian. You go on his podcast, and all of a sudden now you're given an opportunity based on someone else's co-signing, essentially, right? So there's that aspect where I would always want to make it a point to help people that I think are doing good by putting whatever I can back into the industry, right? The second thing is, I guess the contradiction thing is, for me, is there's so much I think the world would want me to talk about with him, but the things that I want to talk with him are on a personal level of my growth of growing up, watching him and his career in his industry. And then the only perspective, I think maybe the unique perspective for me is like having conversations and podcasts with so many people in the industry at the same time he was growing and getting their perspectives of what the motorcycle industry looked like in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then talking to him about, hey, so how was it for you? How was it this? How was like going for, like never about like, hey man, so Sandra Bullock, right? So what was that? Like,
you just want to fill in the gaps.
That's
of
some
the
TMZ
motorcycle
shit.
Industry.
That's TMZ shit. Like that's like playing into some shit that like, yeah, it could probably get you a lot of YouTube views and make you a part there, but it's not necessarily going to understand the mystery of that dude.
No, and you know what sucks is because so many people will revert to that, I think, and want to talk about that type of shit because they're like sensationalized. But he's such a wealth of knowledge, and you're missing out on so much shit.
Yeah,
I don't feel like they would, honestly. I feel like most people.
I think our audience would want to hear about
the podcast audience. Dude.
Yeah,
podcasts don't give a fuck about TMZ shit. Yeah. Like there's those pages out there, but like
you know how bad I wanted to ask Oliver Peck about the blackface when he was on here.
Man.
but like to your things, he's done podcasts on guns and stuff like that, which I follow that too. His guns are fucking phenomenal. Yeah. Like they're fucking insane, dude. Like the fact that he's over there forging his own metal for all this shit is dope. So there is a spot for that, especially down in Austin. I mean, that's fucking everywhere down there. There ain't no like there's bike stuff down there, but like the whole guns and all
it's kind of a
stuff.
dicey time right now, but
yeah, well, fuck it.
Really.
They always say that. I don't know. I think the motorcycle podcast is an untapped subject, you know?
Yeah, like the motorcycle, like his perspective, like he's always been this kind of guy that's, gone against the grain, I guess, whatever is the mainstream. He was a very big advocate of not liking baggers, even though he has one.
Yeah, but that was back in the day. It's the same reason you don't like fucking chopper flames right now.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like, I just feel like it would be a great, I don't know, like, I feel like he's the kind of guy that would deserve to be on Rogan, but you're not going to get the motorcycle podcast on Rogan, you're going to get
exactly. You get more of the
you're going to get the culture, right?
Yeah.
And I could see him not wanting to go down that road and talk about that. It's probably, it's probably complicated, and there's so much shit that it's like I wouldn't want to revisit those parts of my life and talk about those. But the motorcycle part is the part that I think that maybe in some aspects he owes it to the industry.
I mean,
here's the deal.
I wouldn't even say that,
everybody makes their own way in this shit, right? But like the industry didn't give me anything, but they gave me an opportunity in some way.
No, for sure. No, I get that aspect, especially that's where you've blown up from was that subject.
Yeah.
I could see that for sure. But even then, it's kind of that's why I went and got one of these. I'll get more if you need me to.
No, you're good. No, I didn't want to hijack this podcast and make it about him, man, because it would be an amazing opportunity, but at the same time,
it's gonna happen organically.
It does. Yeah. That's the way I've been getting reached out to by some predominant people in the motorcycle industry, and this is my ego, 100%. This is my ego. I'm fucking trying to learn, dude. They're like, hey man, I listened to a couple of your podcasts and they're really great. I'm like, yeah, it's number one.
Yeah, I know.
It's not number one, but it's like, because the motorcycle podcasts get lumped into the automotive podcast.
Yeah.
And so when we have a top 20 podcast or top 10 motorcycle, we're lumped in with everything automotive, right?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Cars, Teslas, everything in the realm of cars, diesels, retro, everything automotive, everything 4 wheels and 2 wheels gets wrapped up into one category in podcasts. And when we, it fluctuates. One day it's like we're number 7, and then we go to 47, and then we go to 20, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we're always there. We're always in the, in that top kind of world of podcasting. And so when people reach out, like big names, like, hey man, you're doing a good thing. It's like, yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like I truly do appreciate them finally taking a chance to listen to the podcast or whatnot. But it just sucks that, like, I don't know. I guess it's just like this stupid ass ego thing.
No, it's like the time they reach out. It takes that for them to want to reach out. It makes sense, but at the same time, you wish they just would have been like, hey, I see you trying
supporting
this.
It. Yeah.
You may not be at the top now, but like, let me
that is 100% that.
Eventually, it'll transcend the subject. As far as like, it won't just be a motorcycle podcast; it'll just be the Fast Life podcast.
But it's like that bandwagon thing, kind of too. Yeah. Like people that are into teams, but they only like them when they're winning, type of shit. Yeah. And like, so you're getting contacted only when like you're doing real well.
Yeah.
Like no, like get in on the ground floor, bitch, or like.
Well, yeah. I guess that is exactly it. I think I'm a little bit more resentful of the fact that, like, I feel like I've gone through the trenches a little bit, like dealing with the ups and downs of being a part of this. And so when you see people going, hey man, you're doing a good job, I'm like, you think about the people that did support you through in podcast 15, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're coming out, you know what I mean? It's this podcast, 2018 January, the first episode we released, and now we're on 2022. We're approaching 5 years now, and just how different it is, like how different it is from the people that are usually on it on a regular basis to the. It's just weird.
It's definitely like I can't remember the exact year I even started listening, but you're definitely. It had to be at your house. Like, it had to be in the garage or something.
Yeah.
But I also went back. That's what's skewing it. I went back and listened to all of them.
Yeah.
Because I realized, like, you would have other people back on and be like, oh, this is the second one. And I would go back and be like, oh, fuck, I got to hear this first one then. Because you're referencing things. And, like,
when a lot of the newer people, like the newer big name wigs in the world would listen to it, like, yeah, I'll listen to these 3 podcasts. I'm like, immediately I have like a list in my head, like, you need to listen to this one, and this one. These dudes were fucking awesome. I did a great job interviewing them. It's not so much interviewing them, it's just like it's making the conversation interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, if it was a podcast, if you were interviewing me and you asked me questions, we can wrap up my life in 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not that interesting. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I feel like everyone's life is
exactly
about that. You know?
So how do I drag this out for 2 hours? How do we make this a 2-hour podcast? Because people are more interested to want to engage in at least an hour to 2 hour podcast than a 45-minute podcast. I feel like a 30-minute podcast is an intro on Danger Dan's podcast.
Dude, Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm fast forwarding for days through that shit. I'm waiting to hear those goddamn keys jingle and just start that fucking bike.
And then sometimes it's a short
and then every now
startup, and then it's a long startup of that little the keys jingling thing. It's like,
or you hear that
to the point where the bike drives away and you're just waiting.
That's what I love about Danger. There's no production in that.
Dude,
it's just like
you hear that,
best.
and sometimes it's still more ads afterwards. You're like, oh, you fucking tricked me.
Have you been on his yet?
No,
dude, that's got to happen.
No, I don't know. I feel like he has something against me or something.
No, Dan.
Fuck no,
dude. I think
he was super pro Cliff for the People's Champ, and he didn't support the local boy, aka me. So maybe we have beef I don't know about. But no, I don't know. No, he's cool.
Dan's
I don't know him. Like, I honestly, like, I don't even think we've even.
Well, Dan hasn't asked me to be back on this podcast since episode 45.
That's funny.
So yeah,
he did. This is funny though. He messaged me. I'll out him right now. He messaged me about wondering if Jesse would go on the podcast. But he messaged me about that. I want to be like, hey, fuck you, man. Like, I want to be like, hey, you said vote for Cliff last year. Fuck you.
No,
I feel like I don't know. Just knowing Dan the way I do, not super well, but like well enough to give him a big hug every time I see that motherfucker. But like, I feel like he's just a mile a minute too. So his thing is just like the next thing, going on to the next show and all that stuff. Because that's part of his thing too. Is he's fucking in Mexico 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's just like
he
just doesn't think about it. And then when he does, it's like, oh yeah, I got to do this and that and whatever. I wouldn't take it personal.
I don't at all.
Yeah.
Like I honestly I don't let much of anything really get to me. Like I just don't.
It's also just as fun to bust their balls for it too.
Hell yeah! Like, give me an in. Like that's all I need.
Same shit.
Yeah. Let me see one of those threads hanging. I'll pull that motherfucker.
Yeah. He's what he's doing is rad. I mean, he's following that dude. I mean, he's the one that got me into podcasting. 100%.
He's great.
He is.
Like he really is.
He's a great teacher because he's just as critical on himself as I try to be. Like. I always try to say this is like I want to blame every bad podcast I do on the guests, but really it always boils down to like my ability to steer this conversation. Like if I can't find a way to make it interesting by finding a perspective or a question or a fucking tangent we can go on that's in your realm to drag this out long enough to get people to understand who you are, then that's my fault. It's not your fault. I asked you to come to my podcast, right? I don't know. Hey, you tell me all your life. I'm gonna go downstairs and sand these parts real quick.
Yeah, like we're here to be like reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and he's the same way. He's like, yeah, man. Sometimes I feel like I didn't do my due diligence of understanding this person and what they've done, and that's always one of the worst things. Is like it's to downplay somebody that has done some amazing things and not know about it because. Everybody online has some dude in some part of the country that's done some amazing shit and has the best stories in the world. Yeah. That's one thing you figure out when you start doing a podcast is there's some old man somewhere that's flown to the moon, built a shovelhead, and rode it across country, right? But when you have somebody that's doing rad shit right now, you got to be prepared for it. You got to be prepared to have that conversation. I think it was a weird one because he had the Chris Hopper dude on that did 100,000 miles in 100 days a couple weeks on, or about a month before I did.
Was that traveling chopper?
No, that was another dude.
Okay.
So traveling chopper, Charlie, he came to town, did Dan's, and then did Dan's podcast, and then Dan left that podcast to come do my podcast. And then Charlie got a hotel down the street and did my podcast the next day.
Good.
Right?
Should have been in one.
Yeah, we
should have been a swapcast.
But so when he did the 100,000 miles in 100 days, he was more on the notion of like he hadn't followed this dude. He didn't know. Like he just heard about it and he made it happen, right? Yeah. He was kind of in disbelief when, as opposed to me, like not. And this is no dig it either way. It's just like I had been following this dude. I reached out to him 3 months before he finished the thing, or not 3 months, 2 months before he finished it, like, hey, I see you're on this trip. When you come back to Texas, can I please have this? Can we please do this podcast? I'll buy you a hotel, pay your gas, get you here, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had already had 100 questions that I've been curating for the last 3 months. And then when he finally came up here, you know, I felt like the podcast we did was tackling more, was less of a, did you really do this?
Yeah.
More of a, dude, so how do you prepare? What's the mindset?
That's insane, too.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
A lot
It's retarded.
Of fucking miles.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
I ride, bro. Oh,
yeah.
do you ride?
So the other thing is, too, like, I'm not even sure up until maybe even the People's Champ shit that, honestly, I don't even know if Dan knew I was in Austin. Just like you didn't even know I was in Austin at first. Because, like I said, I'm not that social. Like, I'm not out there, but I'm also super new. So I don't expect people to be like, oh, you don't know who the fuck I am? Like, no. I'm still thinking I'm fucking nobody because I'm not, you know? Like, I'm just doing what the fuck I can, the best I can. And so I'm not even sure he knows I'm in town or close to. So...
That's a good point you brought up. The weirdest thing is in the same parking lot, you can... For some people, and by some people I mean me, I could sign an autograph for somebody, and then literally sign an autograph for some dude, and then go and introduce myself to somebody in the industry that has never heard of me. Right? It's weird.
Yep.
Not an autograph. Take a picture with them. That's the new.
Yeah.
That's the new autograph.
But I mean, it's true though. Like, I don't know. That's just the way things are, you know. Because some guys don't.
Yeah.
It's just not on their radar.
Yeah.
Any of this podcast.
The best
shit
part
or
is
any
when
of
you
that
introduce yourself to somebody else and somebody goes up, dude, Jace, I followed all your shit, dude. Fuck, can I get a picture? And you're like, sitting next to the guy, you're trying to like, hey, man, I love what you're doing. And
Hey, can I suck your dick? He's sucking mine. I know that. Can I suck yours a little bit?
Can we all just suck dicks here?
Yeah.
Like, this would be a great time.
Dutch rudder, maybe? Just you hold my arm, I'll hold your arm. No, dude, it's weird. I don't know how to deal with that type of stuff. Still,
Dude,
like,
I still
it's
don't.
super
I still don't.
awkward. Like, I appreciate it all. Like, it's awesome, but like, I don't know how to react yet. Like when that shit.
I don't know if there's a appropriate way. I mean, it's kind of like one of these weird. Like if you lean in it too professionally, then it looks kind of arrogant.
Yeah.
If you're not appreciative enough, then it looks arrogant. Like it's just fucking.
I'm just usually like, oh, that's weird. You don't want to kill me, right? Like if
Yeah.
not, we can keep talking. Like usually that type of shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just people just get excited. Like something that they're trying to do in their own time is where they're working their wrench on their motorcycle or whatever, and they listen to this podcast and they go out in the world. They're like, oh fuck, like you're just like me.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's funny listening to like the podcast you do with like all your friends, like everyone that goes on trip, like you, like when everyone's just on here like bullshitting.
Yeah.
And then it's nice because like, oh, like everyone's just kind of like they're all pretty similar. Like it's
my friends
pretty
humble
normal.
me 100%. Like my friends it's a fun thing to do. It's fun to be like famous Jace. Like a kind of like a skit, kind of like a alter ego.
Break his balls for it.
Yeah,
no,
and
friends
then
can bring you down faster.
dude, it's fun. Like so, Bonesaw is my fucking my alter ego, and when Bonesaw comes out, you just like you got some guys that like talk shit to you and bring you back down, and I think that's probably what I think that's the one difference between like this day's culture and what we grew up with watching on TV. Maybe James and all these other guys. Is that we never saw them really busting balls and having fun and being normal. We saw them as professionals.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so that whole side of who they are was always a mystery to the end user, right? And as opposed to podcasts now, like people see us doing stupid shit, saying stupid shit, doing stupid shit, doing mushrooms on podcasts, fucking.
You're seeing how they really talk.
Having beer castles going on and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're more vulnerable. Like we put more shit out there, but at the same time, I don't know. Without my friends, this podcast would not have gone as well as it's been.
I feel like that was like most of the ones. Like when I first started listening, it was always someone you knew or someone you're close with.
Well,
like,
for me.
lot of it.
So cheat code, pro tip. if you want to do a podcast, but you don't create a cast of characters for your podcast, then you're only relying on people to come in and be the guest. Like, you can't come do this podcast every week. There's not enough. We don't live in LA. We don't have this cesspool of builders and painters and influencers to come and do the podcast. So we make a podcast out of us.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take Rogan is Rogan.
Yeah,
but he has Bert, he has fucking Tom Segura, he has Ari, he has all these characters that he's like closer friends with in the bigger community. In worst case scenario, he can make a great podcast out of those guys just talking about whatever the fuck they got going on. Oh yeah,
just come and get drunk or high as shit and talk about random nonsense.
Exactly.
Like, that's all they need. Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
You know, when you are good friends with people and they do the same shit you do, they can carry the weight. They can have a conversation. It does take a while for some people to get comfortable being on cameras. You know, like, I mean, Kyle's been on, dude, he was on podcasts in my conference room in my apartment a couple of times.
We were on with, damn it, I forget his name. Built that one FXR, the orange FXR.
Orange FXR.
Oh, the guy in West Texas?
Cody Childress?
Yeah, Childress.
Yeah.
I was like, you had like, that's a funny.
There's like one
example because we're like, I was there because our chicks were hanging out. And he's like, hey, I'm about to do this podcast with Cody Childress. He's like, been building bikes since he was fucking born. I'm like, like that's. But I was like, yeah, it was cool.
It's funny. All you had to say was orange FXR. It's like the only famous orange FXR.
I can't wait. I need to get Cody back on this. I love that dude and his bikes.
He's in like West Texas somewhere, right?
Yeah. Abilene.
Yeah, he's out that direction.
Anytime somebody in this side of Texas says anything about Abilene or Amarillo, we have to think about which is the next syllable after A.
Yeah, right.
Amarilene.
Yeah. Amarilene. Just make up one.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing, man. But the same thing is like as big as it can get, if it can shed light on all the people like yourself or anybody else, like that's kind of the paying it forward thing, right? You know, like I'm realistic. I don't ever think that this podcast is going to be as big as any of the comedy podcasts that are out there, any of those big things, right?
It's hard. Those dudes are also like touring stars. Like it's just that's not that realistic.
It's just not. I mean, in the motorcycle in general is super small, right? But if I can get the podcast to kind of still be motorcycle related, but still kind of maybe cross a couple of those barriers to where we could get some people that we can wrap into motorcycle content in the same way, then that's the only way this thing will ever grow past its current place.
You need to get Josh Brolin. That's who you need. You need Josh Brolin.
I saw he's into bikes, man. When he did
he was
that
just on the cover of Choppers magazine.
Apparently that shot that photo shoot was for a different situation, not for Choppers magazine. It was like a different photo shoot, but
he gets bikes from those Wisco Choppers dudes. Like, yeah.
I didn't know he was into bikes.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I look around, there's another celebrity into bikes.
Well, I mean, there's
lock down him and Momoa. That's what you need to do.
I don't know if I am a fan of Momoa in a sense, but I'm also not a fan of him whenever he talks politics at all.
Well, yeah, that usually ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that he came down and hung out with, was it Terry Shanks and fucking Knives Made by Nick and all those guys and just like slept on Terry Shanks, or was it, his floor.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
he just came down because he had like that brass knuckle fucking kickstart deal made for him, and he just fucking came down with his knucklehead and he's, I'm gonna sleep right there on your floor. So, and
I mean, I definitely I appreciate what he's been doing, his role into helping like the motorcycle industry and the community grow 100%. And he's got a vibe that's dope. I guess I'm a little bit more resentful because I look at our demographic of bikers as to carrying the Harley Davidson torch.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a more like mainstream.
Exactly. He's getting like a piece of what riding motorcycles is, where he's again, like we were talking about earlier, he's so focused on movies and all this stuff, which happens to be also the woke crowd is all that and all that. So he has to cater to like that crowd of his fans, whereas like I really want to dive in this motorcycle shit, but they're a little too rowdy for what I can deal with right now. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, think about it. Think about it from Harley Davidson's perspectives. Guess what bikes they released this year? Not Shovelheads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? not panheads and not knuckleheads. It's a couple of, they're called like M8s because they have 8 valves, dude.
Yeah.
So there's these bikes that are
called
coming
Revolution
out.
Maxes, actually.
Yeah, okay, my bad. This dude's woke as fuck over here. So when I look at this industry that I'm a part of, this section of the industry, who are, my buddy Chris, the guy that came to the campground, been friends with him since grade. He had a fucking hell yeah brother, a street glide, 8 hangers to the fucking moon. Comes to the camp out, goes home and buys a new fucking road glide, right? There are so many people that do that based on not just what we've done with the camp out in our group, in our world, but across the industry that like they find a new love for motorcycles and they buy another new bike and another new bike. Yeah. And then when you look at these fucking goddamn Harley Davidson ads, right? These these fucking Harley fucks.
Yep.
We continue to sell their brand and get no fucking nothing. Harley ain't doing shit for this fucking industry. Born Free is good.
Yeah.
Tennessee Motorcycle Revival, good. You know what they're not doing for us at the fucking at the hometown rally? They're not doing shit for us. The BRL is there. Cool. Yeah. All the people that carry your industry right now
are in one fucking spot.
And you can't even do anything to show them any kind of like specific love or any kind of nothing like.
Yeah, it's got to be just like a shitty like marketing department or something. Someone like that's not in touch with the motorcycle.
So
exactly.
Let me ask you. Let me tell you this. Or let me ask and tell you this. If you want to take it however you want. If all of their marketing is due through chopper dudes.
Yeah.
Right, Momoa, Kirpius, who I respect both those dudes heavily, but all these other areas, right? They're interested in the Danger Dans and they're interested in the Tennessee Motorcycle Revival, all these things, right? That aren't revolved around the current motorcycles they sell, right?
True. Yeah.
So they bring their bikes to these events that these patrons don't give a fuck about, but then there's this other event over here where they all have your new shit.
Maybe that's it, though. They're already buying it. Why do we have to cater to them more? Let's hit the ones that aren't into that and try to bring them over. Like, I mean, maybe it's that. That'd be weird.
Right. I hate it because he's right. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are already doing it.
Fuck us for being loyal.
And you're driving, all the performance dudes or like all the new Softails and baggers and shit are driving so much of the revenue, for motorcycle parts and shit lately. But like, I don't know. Chopper dudes aren't buying.
Tribalism is a fucking weird thing that I don't think that corporations have fully understood yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no real competitor to this shit. I mean, Indians there, but are they?
No.
You know what I mean? So
they're in racing, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like,
it shows you how much that drives their sales, because it's not like I don't know. I shouldn't even say that. I don't know.
You can say it.
It's not driving their public sales like.
It doesn't seem like
look, we built a bag that beats the shit out of a fucking road glide on track. I still want a road glide, motherfucker.
I've only ever seen 2 Challengers like on the road, like especially in Austin, like only 2. Yeah. I've never seen an FTR on the road, just in the wild. And
in the wild,
that's true though. I've seen a few more around Dallas, but maybe just because of a bigger demographic. But it's the same thing. It's street glides.
I don't think Harley guys buy them. I think that sport bike people.
The FDR or something?
They're trying to get into the cruising.
Yeah, they're kind of like I don't necessarily want to go the Harley Colt route. I think I'll do this, and then
the FDR is the only one that I would ever even consider. Like, that thing looks fucking fun.
Both of them are sick. The Challenger and the FTR. The FTR especially, but
you know what else looks fun? That's like as far as new bikes go is that Del Mar Livewire. Did you see that thing?
Mm-mm.
Is that who they took over the Livewire?
No, like it's like the new version. Like they only did like 100 for pre-order, but it's like a smaller. It looks just like a flat track bike, like right off, like right out of the fucking.
Have you looked into all this like gas stuff at all?
Not really.
So I've been watching some mad videos on the gas crisis right now.
Down the YouTube rabbit hole.
Dude, I went down the rabbit hole, dude, and I want to understand it. And I could still be full of shit, so take this with a grain of salt. But apparently, with the push for EV vehicles, most of the oil and gas companies are cashing out right now. Over the next 10 years, they're cashing out.
They're all getting
because
worried.
if you got California and a lot of people trying to go like, we're banning gas operated vehicles in 2030 is essentially what they're saying. 8 years from now
on new builds.
The new builds.
Yeah.
Right. So they're looking at like we're at the end of the reign. So they're like, fuck it. We're not trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think is going to perpetuate more and more people building EV vehicles. But
they got to find a better way.
In 10 years from now, is it going to be like, how weird is it going to be to try to find a gas station to ride your motorcycle?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fucking Mad Max. Like, it's going to get weird.
Do you think that the
California might get weird?
Do you think the country will go into? We've been on this like brink of civil war, but really, no, we haven't. Like we've had division, but like gas could be the Mad Max could be the Simpsons of movies, dude.
Like
straight
just
up.
Recently, or like in the last couple of years, like when there's that hurricane in Houston, and like everything got kind of like. Supply was just running behind, and you saw like people scramble, like they're filling like 55-gallon drums and shit like that. But then everyone runs out because everyone panicked. Like same shit with like the weather when it all froze last year and shit like that. Like most of it's just people panicking because like news and media and shit like that, and just like overreaction. But really, it'd be okay. So it just depends. Like if that happened, I think.
Yeah, but that's probably the most exciting thing that happened to those people in the last.
Oh, for sure.
3 years.
Yeah, like y'all motherfuckers need a hobby or something else.
Yeah,
like
dude. Yeah, exactly.
Babe, load up the kids. We're getting gas today. Bring all your sandwich bags.
Yeah, I was still driving to work, and I was like, I'm gonna be fucking pissed if I can't get gas just to go to work to do it.
I have a 3-mile drive to my house from here. And it got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I can get gas to go to work.
Oh, no. It was like
I was riding a bicycle to work.
I was still driving 72 miles one way, like to work at that time when that happened. So I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to suck.
Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
You should quit.
I did.
Just be your own.
Now I'm only 20 minutes away.
Hell yeah.
It's way better. Way more fun, too.
All right, I'm going to go pee, and then we're going to start we're going to talk more about you for a minute, and then we're going to wrap this up, okay?
All right.
Yeah, it's, I don't see fucking gas going out that quickly.
No, hell no. And like also the fucking like all the lithium ion batteries for EV vehicles are like it's not good for the environment. Like it's not. They got to find a better way. They got to do something.
And that's fine. That's why I appreciate. I don't know why people are just on one side or the other of this. Like it's both great. Yeah. Electric motors are very fucking efficient. They're dope. They're immediate torque. It's fucking it's great. But you shouldn't be like one of the guys who's like, yeah, I'm on electric vehicles because fuck gas vehicles. It's like, no, let's like try to make this alternative power source as well as just to lighten the load from our gas power sources alone. That's good, right? Like if you got the average Joe that just drives 20 minutes to work every day and an electric vehicle fits them perfectly, like they can charge it and go back and forth to work. Yeah. Fuck yeah, that's fucking great. You should do that. But don't be like, oh, well, it's because the gas is destroying our fucking environment and all this. It's like, what are we doing here, dude? Like,
yeah, you're just not seeing the results yet. Like everything's so new, you're not seeing the back end.
People get in the politics of this shit. I'm just like, it's the dumbest shit ever. Like, just use what works best for your fucking situation.
I wonder if like people were rallying against gas vehicles when they first came out, like they're on wagons.
Right. Exactly.
Like, are they rallying against them, saying they're going to kill the earth?
And then, like, well, and to defend the electric stuff a little bit, it's like, well, we're going to just put, like, fucking charging stations everywhere? I'm like, the only reason we have fucking gas stations everywhere is because of the fucking military. They needed a way to fuel up tanks across the country if they if so it happened to have that fucking route. Like, the military is going to, judging off past situations, the military is what's going to fuel the advancement of whatever the fuck they decide to go with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's just like, you can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude, it's crazy seeing in Austin, like since Tesla moved there, like and all that shit's being built down there. There's charging stations fucking everywhere. Like it's wild. Like there's a lot of people for fully converting and leaning into that shit.
But yeah, it's just people that have no commute, and that's fine. Yeah. Like I mean, they commute like fucking.
They're in the city.
An hour and a half in traffic. Yeah. You know, like. It makes sense for them. Let them, fuck it, do it. You don't have to be like, I'm anti this or anti that. It's like, it's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one of those person that drives a lot, like you're constantly moving around the city, doing things like, that's not a great vehicle for you. But yeah, if you are to and from every day,
Yeah.
you know,
It's like being, I'm for ARs. I'm against AKs. Well, I'm for AKs. I'm against ARs. Bro, you can kill yourself with both of them. It doesn't matter. Like, it's the dumbest shit ever.
I can tie
Like,
a rock to a rope and take you out. It's cool.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And they both fuel each other, so fucking.
yeah. Yeah, well, I watched a video about EVs, and yeah, I mean, the common thing they talk about is how there is no such thing as like a non-conflict lithium, non-conflict nickel, and these other things that have to go in the batteries. But they made this video I watched painted this whole picture about how bad it was to get all these different things. There's a lithium deposit in America north of Winnemucca in Nevada. It's a big one, but it's on Indian sacred land, so they can't drill.
Yeah.
And then there's one in Argentina, and then another one in the Congo, I believe, is the three main deposits, right? But yeah, so there's no human rights shit going on for that stuff. But they paint this whole bleak picture about this whole EV thing. And at the end of it goes, it's still only a percentage of the amount of it's still a low percentage of what gasoline engines do to the fucking environment. Mm-hmm. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know. Like I'm not pro it at all, but at the same time, like, how do you? I mean, I was watching something the other day, and it was just talking about like me and you are millennials essentially. We're first year millennials, 82, right?
Yeah.
So 82, I think, is the first year of us. 81, 82. We're the only ones that are essentially going to go through two depressions and such a rapid change in the way the world works.
Right.
I mean, not the only ones, obviously, every generation above us, but we're at the generation where we're supposed to be homeowners, have fat 401ks or pensions, have generated some kind of assets in our livelihoods, and some of us, are still figuring out how to fucking buy a house because, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I sure as fuck don't have a 401k or anything. Like, fortunate enough to own a house, but that's about as far as it goes. Like,
and vice versa. I don't own a house. I have a 401k.
See, it's a give and, it's a give and take,
sense, dude. Like, it's stupid, and I don't know. Who knows? We're peasants. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I go and buy food, and I don't have to worry about how much it costs, and I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, I thought I would. When I bought that Jeep last year, for the first 6 months, I put nothing but premium in there. I felt like an adult, a straight up adult. I went to the fucking left hand of the fucking handle, said, "I want the good shit." And then when gas prices started creeping up, I was like,
mid grade's looking a little better now.
And then now I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm broke. I can't afford it. Did I fill up my bike, my bagger? So we were like on the last podcast we were talking about like gas prices going to California.
Oh, and dude, I know I'm fucking nervous because I'm driving a Sprinter out there for Born Free, and like I'm not looking forward to that shit. Last year was bad too, but this year's gonna be worse.
As long as you gas up before, I mean, even if you're on 10, that town, like if you're in Arizona, so there's like a gas stop right there before you hit the bridge, to cross to Colorado, and it's still expensive gas there, but it's nowhere near as expensive as it is in Blythe, right? So if you get gas right there, you can gas up there. If you got a average car, you're from there to Born Free and back is about 300 miles. So you can do it. Yeah. You can do it.
Well, even like when we stopped, like when we were leaving LA, we stopped in like Joshua Tree and got gas, I think, and it wasn't as bad as it was obviously in like Orange County and shit like that. Like it was a drastic difference.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, man. So we have our main trip, which I'm going to be splitting off at a certain point, but the main trip is over 5,000 miles, right? And I was doing the math at an average of $6 a gallon, right? Because I just paid $5.20 for premium in my bagger. At an average of $6 a gallon, that's hoping that it might be an average of $6.50.
Yeah.
It was going to be $1,200
just in gas.
Just in gas
on a motorcycle. That's a lot too.
God damn, what?
Yeah.
He's all, well, I don't know if I'm going now.
I might be riding a live wire on this trip.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And
yeah, that's a lot when you put it that way.
So, and then I averaged like
sense,
what I was hoping to get on the back end, because I think for me it'll be closer to 7,000 miles. I was
By the time
looking
you're
at
done, since you're splitting off and going to do podcasts or something, or just
I think
like,
it's going to be about 1,800 miles, or $1,800 with an average of $6.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense though, because we calculated what, $600 for our last trip, and that was at what, $2.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not surprising.
It's just insane
like
how
20
much
fucking
more.
bucks to fill a gas tank now for a motorcycle, and that was my
Yeah, that's
Softail,
wild.
and it's like fucking.
Dude,
stupid.
Like I said, I filled up mine on the way to Justin's earlier, and it was $30 for the bagger, and that was on E.
That's crazy.
Hey, Joe Biden, scram, nerd. I'm like, I don't
Yeah, I mean, shit, even like a small chopper tank is going to be like $15.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
$15 to go 60 miles. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends what bike I'm on. That sports still go about 80.
Like, look at me, I'm saving money, even though it costs what it costs to fill my fucking Toyota.
Exactly.
Like,
We need to get thundermax to do like a map for like gas saving, and you just have like the option to put the
last person that did that was killed.
It'll just shut it down to one cylinder.
Because you evaporate the gas before it hits your cylinders. It works.
There you go.
Dude, I had a problem with that. Like on the twin cam chopper at first, like I couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and the way the gas lines were in like that 103 twin cam runs so hot, and if I got into like any sort of traffic, it would like vapor lock the line.
Oh, really?
Like it was just like vaporizing in the line in between the heads.
Wow.
Like before it ever reached
yeah.
the carb, and it would just lock up, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like I was losing my goddamn mind, and I finally I had to just wrap it in like that fiberglass heat wrap shit,
Okay.
that loom, and like it's fine now, but like, dude, it's just I don't know, it's some black magic shit you'd never ever think of.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how
Black
is that
magic
happening?
woman.
You got to
But
think
it
about the
always happened
invisible
at-
aspects of your bike as well as
Well, start noticing it
mechanical.
happened at the same time. Like I'd be like in traffic or like riding along, and then like when it'd be warm, and I'd slow down. Like it was always when I was coming in neutral, and so the gas would start flowing slower, and then all of a sudden it would just like gone, and I'd see a big old air bubble in the line, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And it was the first time I never dealt with one of those motors before. I just knew they ran hot. Like that's it.
The baggers
fucking
run,
hot.
or the new inmates run pretty hot too.
Do they?
You know, but apparently they say it's because like the head temp sensor is on the back cylinder, I believe. I don't know. It's
Instead
one
of
of
the front.
Yeah, I guess because and that one's hotter, it reads hotter or some shit like that.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. If it's controlling things, the rear one would probably give you a better reading because it'd be hotter.
Yeah.
It's like on the safer side, but I know on my twin cam the sensor was on the front head. I'm not using it anyway, but it was there. Like I pulled it out.
For the knowledge of it.
Yeah, I just remember that part.
So are you excited about this? You feeling pretty confident about it? Just like going into everything.
Yeah, I got a good plan. Like everything's like not put together yet. It's just like sitting in various rooms in my house, like safe. Like the frame's inside on a bench, like inside my front door, and like the exhaust and some other shit I've polished is in like the front office, and like keeping everything safe. But I'm just trying to like put it together once. And, like
Yeah.
I feel pretty good. Yeah, like I'll probably. I got a little bit more like polishing and stuff to do, like, and then I can just start bolting shit together. Like I'm waiting on like a bolt kit for the transmission top for my for the cover. That's it.
Thanks, Jace.
Sorry.
No,
Got it.
unfortunately, you can't use the ARP ones on that because it's all countersunk and specific and like weird for those 4-speed ratchet tops.
Well, you just
So-
gotta make some little cones for you.
Dude,
But you're a fabricator, bro.
Yeah,
But then
I've
it becomes
Some
a
washers
washers
that
that
are
not. It defeats
little
the purpose.
cones.
trust me, I've thought about it. I'm trying not. I'm too far in now to start going and making shit. I'm already making a couple like special little modified ARP
Yeah.
things that I'll be doing in the next week or so. But besides that, like trying to keep it. I spent so much time in other shit. Like
Yeah.
the list of shit I've had to make on this is long. So it's trying to cut down other areas.
So in the performance bagger scene, like, and I'm not talking shit about it at all. This is just a criticism, if you will. We've got like those people that make the Allen heads with the buttons that are colored.
Oh,
if you
right.
will.
Chacos.
Yeah. The little
Yeah.
anodized aluminum things. Yeah.
And I feel like they're too much color or too
Yeah.
much chrome coming off those areas where as a polished ARP 12 point is that perfect balance of chrome on black or just brightness on black, where it's like it's so tasteful looking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like all the added color to things. Like, it's the only time I've seen it. There's someone, I think they're up here in Dallas somewhere. I remember seeing the bike at Justin's, but like it has like blue like anodized bolts, or not bolts, but like the special like taper,
like the Santoro Fabworks kind of
washers, that go over the head of the Allen.
Yeah,
but the bike was, I almost want to say the bike's just like black or it's something darker, more basic, and it
couldn't
looks
afford
good.
a paint job, but they got the bolts.
But it looks good.
I mean, if that's what you got to do, if you really go that route, then fuck it, because it can look good, but it's just like you're saying, you don't got to get too busy with it. You don't have to like, if you got a fucking full ass custom paint shop, you don't have to like completely
it's easy to do too much.
And it's like like someone like Kyle will do that on his, but he won't always go with the color. He might go with like a gunmetal or like a
he'll
black,
usually
just something that makes the bolt
match
itself look tasteful, but not like the color necessarily. It's just the shape of the hardware in general. I don't know.
Well, I feel like that's that's kind of like point of like some of the bikes that like the gold parts, right? Like I feel like that's an easy thing, like to contrast your whole bike with these gold accessories, whether it be the hand controls, the mic or the pegs or the wheels or your set accessory on the bike. It's like this anodized color. It's not a bad way to make up your bike look kind of cool, but at this point, it's like kind of like the cheapest way to make your bike look cool. Yeah. And if that matters to you, like I said, if you're riding your bike, who gives a fuck? But if you're trying to go be some stunner in a parking lot, like
all that shit can go too far too quick too.
Yeah, it becomes distasteful in my opinion.
It just starts being too much. Like, all right, like you should have stopped at like the grips and pegs or something. Like,
and his Dixon flannel that matches as well. Got the right bands too to match it.
I'm on that chrome kick, baby. I'm
chrome. Chrome gets you dome, baby.
If a new part gets on it, it's getting chrome. I'm like, fuck it, whatever.
I'm so nervous about seeing like the bike together. I'm not a chrome frame type person. I'm not like bright. I'd prefer it being black, all this sort of shit. But it was just to do something different. Yeah. There's like 2 other people that are invited builders that are doing single down tube frames just by chance. And like one of them is this dude Al, the 6 Cycles Al guy, and he does like, he's known for doing like these real like tough guy hot rod style like choppers. And he ended up getting a frame from Ben Jeff, like the dude I was talking about in Indiana. And then the other guy is, I want to say he's Japanese or something, Asian some sort. I don't know. His bike's fucking cool as shit, and he built a single down tube frame too. So automatically I was like, well, fuck. I want to do something different, and I know they're going to be black or something color matched maybe. And I was like, this will just be, it's like the most anti-way to do a tough guy bike, like chrome and then fucking weird colored flames. And
I think it's the new, that you're from the South, dude. See Papa Juan's fucking post about like the Taco Bell decor? Like all the dudes from the South that build bikes use 90s Taco Bell decor to paint their bikes.
I was telling like the fucking fucking Arizona or whatever. New Mexico fucking
shit. You know what else it might be is from growing up in San Antonio. I grew up around the time when the Spurs had all
with the pink, like the pink,
the light green, like all that sort of shit.
It's gonna look sick though.
Yeah,
no, that's good. That's a good fucking. That's a good color combination right there.
So I don't know. I'm excited to see it though. But yeah, so I should have everything like start getting back together. I was polishing like the rockers and shit on the motor last night, like just touching things up. Because I didn't have to pull it apart. Like my dream idea, I wanted to get, I was going to, if I could have afforded it and I had the time before Born Free, I was going to do that 96-inch stroker kit from S&S. But it was just like, it didn't work out. And the motor was perfect, so I didn't want to like tear it apart to polish it. So I just kind of like taped things off and polishing it as is, like just kind of a compromise a little bit. And I've been doing that last night so I could get it back in the frame, like either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, because you got 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah, like 3 weeks until I have to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What day are you leaving? You planning on?
I think it's the 21st.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think I'm picking up the Sprinter on Tuesday. So I have it the day before so I can pack up and shit, and then I'm leaving Wednesday.
Yeah, the only reason I know those dates so well is because last week I've been scheduling podcasts from the 16th all the way until the 24th.
Are you riding out there?
Yeah, so
where are you splitting off from?
Twin Falls, Idaho.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and.
Twin Falls, Idaho. I'm splitting off there, and then I'm going to NorCal.
Okay.
Back to NorCal. I'm gonna I got Lucky Speed Shop booked. I got Mike Taylor, who is a OG in the paint game and building. He does a lot of the carbon shit nowadays too. Like he deals with an Italian company. He's over there. He's like a NorCal legend. True Performance. They're a bike shop in between the Bay Area and Monterey. I reached out to Resto Glide about doing a podcast with him. It's Father's Day, the day that I would have to do it with him. We'll see what he says. They got Two Lane Life, Thrashing, Valley Customs, Bassani Exhaust is coming on. I got Danny G is coming on. Oh, yeah. Speed Kings. I'm working on Rusty Butcher, hopefully.
That'd be a fun one.
I want to do one with him.
Dude, you see the fucking trike that Steve's doing?
Yeah.
God damn
it's
it.
Wild.
It's ridiculous.
So Gerald at Valley Customs is painting it right now. And
yeah.
It's pretty rad.
I saw it. I was like, you're just going all out on this thing. Like it's.
Is that which trike is that?
He's building a trike for Born Free. It's apparently Harley reached out to all these people to build bikes for Born Free.
And that was his choice.
Nobody from Texas.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Nobody from Texas.
Yeah.
I'm hating. I'm hating, dude.
Even though it's coming here this year.
No, I'm hating.
That'll be fun. It'll be cool to see how that goes.
I single-handedly helped them fucking sell the ST, dude. Fuck them. That leak photo made all the fucking difference in the world.
Fucking Jay Snowden over here.
Fucking Jay Stradamus.
I like that one better.
That's the best one. Jay Stradamus.
Fuck.
I don't know. It's like I feel like a child of this brand, the Harley Davidson, and I'm just like the middle to last child and not the firstborn like California is.
No,
I feel like there's this complete disregard. You know,
I get it. I feel like similar type of shit when I see like even like when it's like builders for shows and shit like that, like people like invited to shows, like I sometimes see like them and like it's not really building shit, but like I feel the same way. Like I get it. You try not to be hateful about it or spiteful, but it's like at the same time you're like, how the fuck did you end up
competitively
here?
And friendly? And I'm gonna make the statement competitively as also like I'm not talking shit.
Yeah.
If Harley was to ever reach out to my brand and say we want you to build a bike for Born Free, I guarantee you it'd be one of the sickest bikes ever made.
Yeah.
Hands down. Not for two reasons. One, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, give me a challenge. Mm-hmm. Two, I have some of the best people to do some of the best things, right? So
your network of like just the
and
people
that's what building is.
Yeah.
That's what building is nowadays. Unfortunately, like or not unfortunately, but to your side, fortunately, like building a bike is about all this like one-off shit that you can make. Well, for our generation, it's about how badass can you make this bike, period, whether no matter how you get to it, right? You might have Justin, my machinist, that can make all these handmade parts, but then his paint falls flat on his face like it did, right?
Yeah. You definitely need like they always say like no one builds a bike alone. Like you can do the majority of shit. And like I've done a shitload of the work. I've done all the work on my own. Yeah. But people have still helped me get there. Yeah. You know, like, and that's, it's huge.
I have guys that are masters at mechanics. You got guys like Justin that can make a lot of shit. I got a lot of friends that can hand make sheet metal stuff that I couldn't. But I have the vision, and the vision is what ultimately is the build. I mean, right now you work for a guy who has a vision, and you make that vision happen, but he's still the builder, right? There's, which I know it takes away from some of the luster of what it is to build a bike, but at the same time, like I feel like if I was tasked to build a bike for some kind of situation, then I would pull out every fucking Rolodex of ideas I've had over the years, like. Yeah. I want to take this style and I want to apply this thing that hasn't been done to this and this and this and bring it together. And I'm going to take all my friends that build badass shit and I'm going to coat what they've done with my style of paint and my style of assembly. And yeah, I can confidently say that I would. There's not somebody in the industry right now in my side of the industry that's built a bike that I think I couldn't outdo, hands down. And I don't mean that in no disrespect to anybody. It's just I do 70, 60 podcasts a year, 20 bikes, 50 helmets, and still ride 6 or 20,000 miles a year. So it's like if I was to cut out one thing, focus on this thing, then I feel pretty confident in myself.
I think a good example of that is looking at Tommy's bike.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like really undeniable. Nice. And it's because he's made so many friends.
Yeah.
Like, and knows, like,
he brought
the right
best
sources.
people in to build a bike. And it was
like you put together the fucking Avengers to do that bike. Like that's all it is. So yeah.
And that's a version of bike building. It isn't the same that you're doing, but there are similarities to it. But at the end of the day, like the way that bikes are built in the performance scene versus the way hand built choppers are being made, it's different, right? So it is about how it's about knowing a bike so far in and out that I can reach out to you and go, you know what, man, I have this idea for a part that I think that your vision of it and the way you can make it would make this work. It's about being a visionary in your build to find the right people to make those things come together. It's more of it's not the orchestra, it's the conductor, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like and I have an appreciation for it because I'm normally why I use my iPad a lot to draw things is I'm bad at like just visualizing something from like a part, like out just wild, you know? So I draw shit because it helps me see it. And like, but like I'll be working on a bike at the shop and like Jesse will just have this idea, like he can see shit clearly and it blows my mind. And yeah, just some people are good at that shit. Yeah. Like some people have that and I don't, you know, like I can draw like almost anything, right? But I usually need a reference photo for the first thing. Like I know exactly what a rose looks like because I've seen it a million times. Yeah. But at first I'd be like, oh fuck, what the fuck does that look like if I had to draw it? But as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Like it's just weird shit like that.
In his perspective, he has been building bikes for so long that he has this fucking
it's a Rolodex
of ideas and concepts and versions of it to where like he can visualize it. I can visualize paint jobs like that way in a lot of aspects. Cool. But you know, it's the time that you've done it, and I think over time, like you said, you're still new to building bikes. You're gonna develop that thing where you see every part, and like you can see someone else's build, and all of a sudden, like while you're looking at it, you can see your mind unfolding like your version of that. Yeah. Like, oh, I would have done this right here with these struts and them, and then bam, you have a whole new bike build in your mind just by looking at somebody else's shit.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a lot like how this one came about is like seeing other things and like seeing like trying to be different like with the build and stuff like that. I see other people with a single down tube frame or like the same type of lowers, but they're buying these parts, and I'm like, well, all I gotta do is make them, and it's different whether it gets appreciated or not. Like. People look at it and be like, oh, it's probably the same thing you bought and not notice it because it's not wildly different. Yeah. But I'm like still making it from scratch, you know, like putting the time into it to figure it out. I'm not just like finding another part and trying to like copy it, you know, or like use the same parts. Like it's all new.
There's
like,
something special about
there's
that.
There's a risk to it too. Like, but also trying to find a way to make it different and shit like that. So like, I mean, that's been the whole damn thing. Like, it's not like I'm not doing anything special or different compared to other people that were invited or anything, but I'm trying to build more of it instead of source it out is all it is.
Oh yeah. That's obvious in the builds that you're doing 100%. That's the way to do it. I mean, like, and then, you know, if you get invited again or you get another opportunity similar like this, like you'll probably take on new tasks because now that you've acquired that one skill to build lowers, then you know that you can do it again if you have to. Maybe there's something on the market that fits the idea that you have and you don't have to, but you know that if you if it comes down to it, you can build it yourself again.
Dude, it was crazy. Like it's like the algorithm shit. Like once I made them and like I posted a photo, all of a sudden I found like 3 people, like small, just random people that also make them.
Yeah.
And I was like, you gotta fucking be kidding me. Like,
we did a podcast with Oliver at the Cut Rate right when he was building, I want to say the last Born Free bike he did, where he had like this billet down tube with this metal frame, but it was all somehow welded together. It was a candy red, real funky looking thing he had built for Born Free. I think it might have been last year's because it was or the year before, because 19 we went
the year before. He only had like Dynas and FXRs at a booth last year. But yeah, it was the year before that.
It was candy red.
What it was, yeah,
it was like, sick.
Yeah.
So it's like for him, like I could, as someone that's become a big fan of what he does, like I see, and after talking with him as well, like I see where he finds ways to challenge his building creativity, to find a new way to challenge himself. And for him on that bike, that frame situation was one of the I guess the pinnacles or the highlights of that build is like, I'm going to make this thing, which is 2 different metals come together.
Yeah, I mean, just figuring out how to hold them together safely, even, to like hold the bike up. Yeah, he's the fucking champ. Like the fact that my name was on that invited list with his blows my goddamn mind, and also terrifies me because I'm like, fuck, please don't just be building a Shovelhead, so I at least have a chance to like get some sort of award. Like, just give me some sort of chance. Luckily, he's building an Indian, so he's on his own. Oh, yeah. But
I might then follow him.
Yeah, well, you're out. Yeah, I see other people that are like doing Shovelheads. I'm like, oh fuck, please just give me a chance. Like, even that dude, Richard Bray, RKB, or RBK Customs, is it RBK? Yeah,
sounds familiar.
He builds wild bikes too, but like even he's in there, and like all these dudes are just like big in the show shit. Yeah,
think you're gonna get beat by the girl?
Oh fuck, no, it has a panhead.
That's kind of dope. I've been watching her. It's Axel or something like that. It's been fun watching her progress. I mean, her Instagram in general is pretty all over the place with like her involvement.
She has a lot of promotion shit. Yeah, like Rolling Sands and Dunlop and stuff. But like, I like that. She is like trying. She's putting in work where she can and stuff like that. Like, clearly she has people helping her, but she doesn't hide it at all. She's super open about it, which is admirable because a lot of people hide that shit. Yeah, they like looking like they're the ones doing all the work, and like
it does make it a lot more
honest.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah, because then I can be on your side. I'm not like, oh, you're just fucking faking this shit.
Well, I think it also appeals better because people can, like other women that might want to get into building, because that's still a very new demographic.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Women riders are fucking, we get it, you're there. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a reason why the lowrider has done so well. But at the same time, women building bikes or doing the customization is still a very new thing. And so what I think she's doing is using resources she has, but she's still making the way. But she's showing that, like, you don't have to be this completely outlier to where you have to know everything. You can use the knowledge available to kind of do your thing. And at one point in the future, we're going to have, like, women builders that are doing some wild shit. It's just, I mean, it's just new.
Yeah, right? No, it'll be fucking awesome to see, because there's also there's a lot of really talented women fabricators.
Exactly.
They're just in different
fields.
Yeah, they're just either in cars or they're even in like welding boilermakers together, Or, like there's talented as fuck, but they're just not in motorcycles. Yeah. And it might bring them over just seeing that, to be like, maybe there's like, because there's an opening or just whatever. Yeah, seeing someone like Axel, like just like, maybe that's a gateway.
It's a gateway. Yeah, it's gonna. I think it'll.
I mean, she's the first invited builder that's a female. Like, and that's cool as shit. Like, it's, But I think like she's doing well. Like, it's like for what it is and stuff like that, and like even through the partnerships and doing the stuff she has to do. But like, it's not crazy corny. It's not faking things, and like it's, yeah. If it was someone that was trying to fake it, I'd be like, oh, you're fucking corny. Like, this is dumb.
There's a lot of a lot of badass women painters out there too that are doing some great shit. And I don't know, there's so many women generated like restoration body shops and paint shops, and there's like the whole Instagram page Girls Behind the Gun, which are painter women that even do car painting and shit like that. Like,
what is that? who's that one girl that she's been traveling through Texas a lot lately, like a custom painter. I don't know. She's been in like San Antonio and she's been doing other shit, but like just surprisingly, came out of nowhere and like actually like pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And then I have no idea the fucking name. I feel like you know, but you're not saying.
No, it's all good. 13th Street Airbrushing.
Maybe, yeah.
She just moved to California, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's doing work for this company called Dirtbag Cycles out there, or Dirtbag Customs, I believe. I think they're in like Riverside area.
And there's some other girl I talked to about painting because I had like a idea for like some weird like offset image, like 3D flames type shit, and then someone tagged me in a post of hers and she did a tank like that, but she did it like double image to where it's all solid colors, it's not candies. It was like separately airbrushed, and like she wore like blue glasses to paint one image and then red to do the other, so they're completely different but they're overlaid to look like a 3D image. Dope. It's fucked up, like it's pretty badass. Dude, it doesn't make any sense. Like, but yeah, she's crazy. I think she's in like Arizona or something.
Yeah, there's some chicks. There's a Stripe Cult Painting is I think in Utah. She does some really badass like
she has the crazy images on helmets.
Yeah,
like
she does like a lot of kind of warped, checkered, like striped kind of things.
Like we need to be in like art class making like checkerboard patterns.
Yeah, I feel like she's the chick that like you know that little thing you would make where you put like the hashes and then you draw one line. Yeah, and it makes like this like star kind of weird situation. But she has a dope style. I think she just collabed with Taylor Schultz on like something with House of Color recently. But there's a lot of really badass chicks that do pinstriping, like Hot Rod Jen. She does some wild shit, really clean work. There's a lot of airbrush chicks out there too that I think you might be talking about the airbrush chick. I think her name is I can't remember it, but she
does a lot of airbrushing. Yeah. But
she did like this nun helmet where it had like a nun.
I think that's her. Yeah,
banging herself with like a cross, and she got banned on Instagram a little bit for it.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. She's got some wild shit.
Yeah,
but she's like as much as I consider myself an airbrush artist, like I'm not on the level like she is. Like she wakes up every day and airbrushes shit. Like I wake up every day and avoid it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to do it.
You see it come through in an order, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. She's still got that spark.
Yeah. She's got that spark, and I don't have it anymore.
Also,
I wish
some
I did.
people maybe like because they're more of an airbrusher than a custom painter. Yeah, and like you're more of a custom painter than an airbrusher.
Yeah, I got lucky being good at graphics, and the graphics have outshined my airbrush work. And also, the industry that we're in right now on motorcycles, airbrush work doesn't really have a place in the same way it did 10 years ago. So that skill that I have there, it just hasn't been exercised much, and I've leaned more in because I'm a biker. I lean more into bikes, and that's kind of depicted what is that I paint, if that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I look at my bikes all the time, like, dude, I could do this sick ass mural right here, and I'm like, I don't have a week to do it.
Dude, it's crazy. Even like, I feel like a lot of people don't get how your paint jobs, like they're complex, like they look like it, even like on Instagram and shit like that. But there's a lot of things I've noticed that you don't see on Instagram for sure. And there's a lot more into it. Like whether it's like a drop shadow, a little hidden like ghost image in something, or just shit like that, like you don't see. Like when I saw Tommy's paint job in person, all the little Harley emblems, and like you're just like, you don't see that shit ever. Never saw it in another photo.
Those are kind of like simplistic ways of keeping attention on the bike. But I've always tell people, like, if you want to do a great paint job, the great paint job in my opinion is a paint job that grabs your attention from across the parking lot, and then the other version of your paint job that holds the attention while you're standing right there. Exactly. And so the attention from across the parking lot is going to be the flow, the color balance of things. And then the details are going to be like the things that aren't visible from across. It's going to be like you said, the ghosted images that the light illuminates and shit like that. So, but it's also about a balance between, when you paint wild, you attract, this is a broad statement. When you paint wild shit, you attract a lesser financially viable client.
Gotcha.
And when you paint more clean and classy, you get a clientele that's willing to spend more money.
It's kind of more refined.
It's refined. Like people that have, this is a super broad statement, so don't quote me to it, but it's, in my experienced when I've cleaned up my work and made it more classy, I've gotten a higher level of customers, right? And I remember once a dude telling me, like, you know, if I buy a fucking Lamborghini or a BMW, I would never let you paint that on that. But my Chevy truck over here, you can do whatever the fuck you want to it, right? So you want to find a way to balance, like, when people are willing to spend the money to do, like, custom paint. Otherwise, some of the best painters out there are the ones that gets the biggest bucks, are the ones that paint very cleanly and very, like, less is more. They get the most money. Like we were talking about, like, the cleanliness.
Yeah, to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I like it, like, I like to be in, like, how you're talking about, like, how you look at it from, like, 20, 30 feet away or whatever, right? And it draws you in. And it's, like, two different looks. Like, I try to do the bikes that way. Yeah. Like, where it's, like, you have this general form that's really appealing, like the parking lot or something like that, for, like, across the shop, whatever. Like, it looks good there. But then when you get up close to it, you're drawn in and you're seeing little details of shit. You know, like, it's the same as paint, though. Like, you want to be able to see that type of shit. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Who's that?
That's Peter's the one painting my bike. He says, "What do you have against tasteful paint jobs?"
Is that is he
just
talking
hates
about
chopper flames?
Is this chopper flames? He does the chopper flames?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's quick color. He's knocking your flames, Peter.
Yeah. I will definitely stand behind my ideas on that. No thoughts on your Rebel 1100. Kill yourself. So.
Don't do that, man.
Rude.
No. This isn't a beginner's biker podcast.
That's true.
You get these bars over here, bro.
Gets these virtual hands.
No, that's dope, man. I'm excited to see the build. I know I'll be on the road once you kind of start getting it all together, but I'm pretty excited to see it in person and Born Free.
That's awesome. You're gonna be out there. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I hate that I missed last year, but last 2 years actually, the 2020 didn't happen, and 21 was kind of like a toss-up show. Yeah. Unfortunately, but being there this year, it's coming together really nicely, and it's going to be able to see a lot of cool bikes. So,
I like what they're doing with I like the FXR show and all the other stuff they're doing. Yeah. Like, that was cool to see, and kind of like last year, like I felt like, because the Twin Cam put me in a weird mix of, like, the chopper dudes and then also, like, FXR people. Like, that's how I met Josh, like, Motorcycle Dork. Yeah. Like, just meeting people like that, and it's cool as shit. But then, like, same way, kind of like met and started talking to Mike. Yeah. And it just it was like a weird mesh. Yeah. But, like, just seeing all the bikes, and, like, dude, there's some wild shit out there.
Guys like Josh and Mike, they have a big variety or a wider range of, like, bikes that they're interested in, which you could probably tell that, like, some of the Born Free crowd is going to be, like, the trendy, like, what's popular bikes and shit. Even though, like, to us, like, your bikes are popular, but to the chopper norm, it's like,
they're not.
Yeah.
They don't
even, like, they see a cone show, like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
And they see,
it's like what I just said to that dude.
Just the anodized black wheels, like billet wheels, and the fucking dual radial
nice
brakes.
Nice and new bike, like, bro.
Yeah, it's an oddball.
84 older show, dude. Scram.
Yeah.
No, bike shows are supposed to be like that, man. Like, they're supposed to, you know, like, when you have a variety. I mean, the year that we all went in 19, we walked around. There was some pretty wild ones that year. That's when was it Christian Newman or the Vintage Technology had the see-through motor, essentially.
That blue bike.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was the blue one where he did the.
Yeah, like,
didn't have rocker boxes. Didn't have. Yeah, exactly.
You see the valves coming up, or I don't know, weird shit. But, like, that's dope. I can appreciate that. Yeah. But I can appreciate something like what you build, because, like, I'm like, I want to ride this.
See, that's what
makes the emotion to motorcycles fucking great. It's like, I want to fucking ride that bike. That looks fun to ride.
Yeah. I'm not to the point yet where I can wrap my head around.
Yeah, scram.
He came back good though. I
get his ass.
Like, I can't get into the full show bike thing yet. Like, building a bike only for a show, but I think it has to do with I don't have even the space to just keep a bike like that around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the space or money to waste on something I'm not going to be able to ride or do something with. So I can't, like, I don't know. I'm not to that point yet. Like Hawk has those bikes that, like, you're not riding them down the fucking road, really. They're in his showroom or whatever, and they're fucking awesome.
They're pieces of art.
Same thing with, like, his bike. Although I'm pretty sure that turbo Shovelhead or that turbo UHL, whatever it is, the 8-valve one, he says it's fully rideable, but, like, will you actually ride it?
Yeah.
You know, which is, it's probably not, because he's still showing it at shows and shit like that. Like, that thing's a work of art. Like, I'd be scared to ride it. And, like, I'm scared to just get close to that fucking thing. Like, you see it and you're just like, I don't belong near you. Like, it's wild. It's not.
Well, there's always levels to it. I mean, like, as much as accomplished as I feel sometimes with the paint world, there's so many dudes that are so fucking far past what I could ever achieve with paint. And it's always going to be a part of the world that you're in. Like, what you're doing with your builds, like, it can be discouraging or it can be inspiring depending on how you absorb that just seeing these other badasses,
just
right?
However you take it in.
But yeah, I mean, as long as, not as long as, but, some people build art pieces like that. And some people build bikes that kind of tote that line from art and usability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it might be rideable, but
Yeah, and, like, I think about it, I want to take a swing at doing something like that, but I don't want to do it on a fucking Born Free timeline.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to do it, and then if it works around a show, cool, but, like, I don't want to, I just know it's going to take longer than that.
Yeah.
And I also think, like, the last bikes, like last year, Hawk and Christian both, like, won, like, the Best of Show awards. Like, they split it, basically. But also they had that whole year where it was delayed, so everyone had 2 years to build a bike. So shit got really out of hand on some stuff.
I don't remember seeing a lot of I mean, obviously, because we weren't there either, but I don't remember seeing a lot of the more the actual Born Free builders. Like, I don't, not that it wasn't put out there, just my algorithm was not on it last year.
Yeah, I don't even remember seeing a whole shitload. All these retracted messages.
Yeah, he's trying to say something nice, but it won't work because
there's a bunch that got retracted in the
YouTube's catching on to him.
Oh, I hope not. I gotta hit you back with a good one.
But
last year's Born Free builders. I felt like the same way. I didn't see anything.
Not a whole lot. I felt like maybe it's just because I was in it and, like, so my algorithm and shit. But, like, the People's Champ shit was, like, huge last year. It felt like, and, like, even just the party and everything.
Well, the hype behind the People's Champ is always done. Like you said, Builtwell's done a really good job.
Yeah,
hyping that up. And
I mean, they put on. It's a great party. Like, it's a lot of everyone. It's the kickoff party for the whole weekend, so everyone's there. But just the way they do it, the show they put on, like how it's set up, everything. Like, I'm excited just to go back to that and just get to hang out this year.
Yeah, agreed. Fortunately, I got a lot of the homies are coming out this year. So we got Justin, my machinist, Big Trouble, Jetty, Ben's coming out. Bent Moto is coming out. Instab and Kyle is going to be out there. He's on a setup. Right. So I'm pretty stoked to. It's going to be a nice Born Free for me this year because I'm going to see so many familiar friends from this side of the Rockies. Yeah, essentially. As well as all the homies I have in California. So
yeah, it was cool seeing people I recognized out there. Like from being new, I was just like, oh, it's nice. Like I actually like recognize you or something. Yeah. Help settle in a little bit. It was fun though.
We did it, dude.
Hell yeah.
We did it. We did it. You're doing it, but we're doing it.
I'm trying my best.
Dude, it's me sick.
I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited you're building shit like this, dude. Putting Texas on the map.
Definitely.
I'm just trying to do my part. Not, yeah.
You're the best thing since, what's his name that is also from Austin that was a Born Free builder a couple times?
Matt Jackson?
Matt Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
You should start a Giddy Up for us.
A Giddy Up?
They tried hard. They end up just trying to bring it out here instead of just keeping
are you excited about that?
I am. At first, I had a lot of reservations, if you will. But I'm controlling by nature. Like I like to have my fingers on the pulse of things.
And because it feels like it's in your backyard.
Yeah, and I feel like I want to help it be good, but it's not my show and it's not my place. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to just be a spectator of it. I have a natural inclination to promote things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so with doing so, like, I feel like, hey, you know, if you do this, it'll be better, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just, you know, that shows it's in the books, it's in the motion. They have it figured out.
Yeah.
You know, I need to let them do their thing. If it crashes and burns, cool. If it's badass, it's on them. They fucking made it that way. You know what I mean? So
no,
I'll be supporting it 100%.
I'm interested still to see what's going to be like.
Definitely not going to be what it is in California.
Definitely, no, I know that.
You know.
But like that could be a good thing though too. Like, because if it was the same thing, like then why would a lot of people want to go? Like, it needs to be a little different somehow.
I don't know if Born for or Southern Throwdown. It was a good new venue for that, so I think it'll be fun.
I thought originally that it was just taking over Southern Throwdown.
Kind of is.
No, but they're still having Southern Throwdown,
They are?
and then they're having Born Free Texas.
Because they were talking about maybe doing like a Saturday Sunday thing and combining the two, but I think now it's Southern Throwdown's still gonna be in the summer, and then Born Free's gonna be in October.
Yeah,
so.
I thought there was just gonna be a combination. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. This is like a rebranding and like, or not a rebranding, but like a branding of it.
Well, originally I thought the whole concept came from when people like the guys in California didn't know whether or not they were going to have the ability to host a show anymore because of the way they were.
The way California was
going.
Yeah,
the way California was going with like getting, you know, the ability to put that many people in an area kind of situation. So
it was a backup.
It was a backup. Now, Texas has its potentials. There's the things that make the California one so appealing is it's California, it's the mecca of motorcycling, so you're kind of going to, you know, the mecca of motorcycling to show off your work or see the best work in the world.
Especially that style of bike.
Yeah.
From choppers to FXRs, like you see the parking lot at Born Free, it's fucking insane how many bikes they are, and they're all local.
Yep.
Like that blew my mind.
So when I think back at Giddy Up, and this is just my perspective, like I know there was some badass bikes built and displayed there, but I guess I was so in love with just the scene that I didn't give two fucks about the bikes that were there.
I wish I've gone back and looked at photos from those shows before and like looked at the bikes again. Yeah. But I wish I could go back now with like the perspective I have and like see the bikes. Yeah. And like see what they were. Like, and then because there's very few that like fully stand out. Yeah. Like one of them is Corey's. Like just that Sportster Corey did.
Yeah, and he wasn't even in the show. He just parked there.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But like shit like that. Like it'd be cool to see that stuff, but you know, whatever.
I know I'm hopeful for it. I think it's probably got potential, but like I said, I'm just gonna do my part to show up and party. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they reached out originally, but I haven't heard anything in the last year and a half about putting another sector onto the. I would love to. I would love to head up a performance side of the show here to be what San Diego Customs. It just makes sense.
Like you're here, like it's a Texas thing. Like let Texas people be involved in it. Yeah. You know, like there's still time.
We were planning. Me and the Houston Dyna crew and some other guys were planning on doing a full on big ass show. Yeah. In like the Hill Country, to replace Hills and Giddy Up, but a little bit more inclusive to both sides of the spectrum. You know, of bikes. Choppers and performance bikes. And then, of course, we all have busy shit going on. Like me with all my shit. The HTX block party HTX now. They have something going on. And then Zombie Mike was involved in it, too. And it's just gotten to a point where it was just kind of hard to kind of get all the guys to go there together, look at venues, talk it out, figure it out. But hopefully Texas Hills is what it is, and hopefully Born Free is what it is. Hopefully Born Free is a good alternative for us because we have such a big performance bike scene here in Texas now that we really need a legit show to kind of capitalize on it the way Born Free has on with San Diego Customs and Speed Kings down there.
Well, it's such a good location though too because it's so central. Like it's easy, and you got to get into Texas, but you don't have to dip real far south. Like,
for people on the east side. Yeah, people from the west, they're fucked.
Yeah, it's still pretty fucking far.
It's like
I didn't even realize how far east it was in Texas, and I even looked at it and like, God damn it, that's a long drive.
It's a good spot though. We went out there for a concert situation. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh really?
It's only an hour and a half from me.
Oh shit. It's like what? Like
If that.
what is it? Like 2.5, 3 hours from here still?
Yeah.
Probably.
Like from where we are.
It's really not too
Probably
bad.
2,
Yeah.
maybe from here. Oh, I don't know.
It only took me like even like with the traffic, it was like not even 3 hours to get here from Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that ain't shit.
It's not too bad. It's got its times. Well, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Jacob, thank you.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Thanks for
Appreciate
having me,
it. Congratulations on the Born Free invite and good luck on the Born